What's going on, everybody? Today, we're going to talk about Tucker Carlson apologizing for campaigning and supporting President Trump during the election. We're also going to talk about Alan Dershowitz officially says that he is now a Republican to fight for Israel and Jewish causes. But if you say that, according to the government definition of anti-Semitism, you're an anti-Semite, apparently. I'm going to talk about this weird psyop that's going on that people are saying we need to give up one of our constitutional rights in order to get voter ID, which is really bizarre. I didn't put it in the title, but I think I'm going to start with that so I don't forget. And then there's some other clips I'm going to show you guys as well. Trump talking about how he would have finished finished Vietnam as quickly as he did Venezuela, etc. Fascinating stuff. I got a lot to go through, so I don't want to get too distracted. Dream Rare podcast starts now. Thank you guys for being here. Hopefully you enjoyed the show and hopefully you like the live show. That would be ideal, because if you didn't like it, what a disappointment that would be for both of us. So Dream Rare podcast starts now.
It's the Dream Rare Podcast. Welcome to the show. The way to get the news at the desk or on the road. Let's go. God is great and success in our control. The world is crazy, but we get better from obstacles. Yeah.
What's going on, YouTube? What's going on, Facebook? What's going on, Rumble and the podcast apps? Thank you guys for being here, and let's get right into it. I used to do a lot more live streams and videos, but what I've been trying to do recently, since it was getting a little hectic trying to do daily videos, it's nice and peaceful for me because I get to kind of take it all in and really think about what I'm going to do and say versus trying to chase it all the time. So I'm really grateful you guys are here. Hopefully, even though I'm not here as frequently, hopefully the shows are better. I would like to think that they've been 10 out of 10 perfect, but I'm just kidding. It's not that good. But anyway, thanks for being here. Just joking. Let's get into the first clip. Oh, no, before that, I remember what I was going to say. So I saw Anna Paulina Luna. She tweeted something along the lines of, the only way we should pass FISA, which is the spying bill that they use to spy on Trump. It's completely un-American. It's unconstitutional. FISA means, I think the F in FISA stands for foreign. So they're supposed to spy on foreigners, but they've been using it to spy on Americans for decades now. I think they started probably during the War on Terror, Bush era, at least publicly. I don't know how long they've actually been spying. And Trump was totally against it. He was against it in 2024. There's posts to prove it. But now he's trying to push it. And I saw Anna Paulina Luna was the one who started this, in my view. Maybe someone else did. She said, don't pass it unless we get voter ID, then let's pass it. Then I saw DC Drano tweet the same thing. No FISA unless we get voter ID. Then I saw Andrew, what's his name? Colvert or something, the TPUSA guy. He tweeted the same thing. And a lot of smart people started tweeting, why do we have to give up our constitutional right in order to get voter ID? Like, is this really the Republican Party? It might as well be the Democratic Party at this point, but the Republican Party campaigns on, they almost ruined Trump's life with this spying bill, and they use it to go after their political opponents. Meanwhile, Trump is out there saying he's going to put a bunch of people on a list that he doesn't like in media. And then they're trying to psyop everybody into thinking, no, it's okay to give up your rights for the government to spy on citizens unlawfully, as long as we get voter ID. I want to get into the actual segment. I could rant about this for a while, but the true stolen election is the fact that even when you vote for Trump in 2016, you get a lockdown, you get 15 days to slow the spread, you get Fauci, you get Biden level printing, you get vaccine socialism, your party falls short, and then Biden gets in office and he's terrible. Then Trump gets back into office and we basically just get Mark Levin, Alan Dershowitz, and freaking Lindsey Graham. So that's like the real stolen election. Yes, I want voter ID. I think it's ridiculous that we don't have voter ID. But even without these new voter ID laws that they're trying to pass, Trump literally just won the House, the Senate, the presidency, and the popular vote. So clearly, as long as there's not a lockdown and some sort of like a pharmaceutical scam, then it's not that hard to overcome if you have a good candidate. So yes, I want voter ID. Yes, I think it's ridiculous that we don't have it. But this psyop that Anna Paulina Luna, DC Drano, and Andrew Colvert are trying to pass, that it's okay to let them do the FISA spying again as long as we get voter ID, it's like, it's such a stupid compromise, and it just comes across so fake. It's like, how about they get voter ID a different way? Why do we have to give up our constitutional rights? Why do we have to give up our liberty? It's like, yeah, guys, let's give up our First and Second Amendment in order to get the voter ID, right? That's a good trade-off. No, it's not, dingbats, and neither is the Fourth Amendment or whatever amendment the right to privacy is. I think it's the Fourth. I don't feel like searching it now. let's listen to this clip of Tucker Carlson, and I'm going to react to him saying that he like totally regrets, campaigning for Trump. I think he's being a little hard on himself, but I understand it because Trump is coming super hard at him personally, and he feels bad, I think, for numerous reasons. But let's take a look.
You and I and everyone else who supported him, you wrote speeches for him, I campaigned for him. I mean, we're implicated in this for sure.
Yes.
It's not enough to say, well, I changed my mind, or like, oh, this is bad, I'm out. It's like in very small ways.
So that's the first clip. I just didn't want to get copyright stricken. Let's look at the last one.
Small ways, but in real ways, you and me and millions of people like us are the reason this is happening right now.
Yes.
So I do think it's like a moment to wrestle with our own consciences. We'll be tormented by it for a long time. I will be.
So yeah, I was right about the Fourth Amendment. By the way, I looked it up while he was playing. It's the right, your right to not have the government like unlawfully search or seizure, like not like a seizure, like you're having one, like a seizure of your property. So that includes privacy. So Tucker feels really bad about supporting and campaigning super hard for Trump. Tucker has always been very respectful of President Trump to almost to a fault of his own reputation among some. Of course, like I've always liked Tucker, at least for like the last couple of years or however long he's been very honest. But some people would say, you're going too easy on Trump. Like he plays stupid sometimes. And I'm not saying this to be rude. I'm just trying to recap it. He'll basically just be like, it's not Trump. He's surrounded by people. I really like Trump. I'll always like Trump. He went out of his way to be respectful to Trump as a person and try to be the guy in the Republican Party that was like, listen, I love you, Trump. I appreciate you. I want to meet with you. I will never say a bad word about you. However, I don't agree with what you're doing, and I want to use my voice to disagree. And for that, I think Trump really called him low IQ or something. He went off on him on True Social. He said he's going to make a list of all the good boys and special boys and bad boys or something that, report on this stuff. And now Tucker's starting to feel bad. I would love to listen to the whole podcast for more context. He talked to his brother. And if you guys never heard him talk to his brother's like super cool and super funny. It's honestly a podcast I'll probably try to listen to later this week. I've just been busy, but I love listening to him and his brother talk because his brother's very similar to him, but also just super cool and unique as well. So I'm sure it's a great conversation. And I've seen his brother's tweets. His brother, it doesn't care. He's a wild guy. So, should Tucker feel bad for campaigning for Trump? I personally don't think he needs to feel bad for it. I think Kamala's a bad option. But, what I will say about not just Tucker, but pretty much everybody in Republican and conservative media, the mistake that they all made, and I'm not trying to act so holier than thou, like you all made a mistake. I've never made a mistake. But if you guys remember in 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024, even parts of 2025, I was trying to explain to people we have to call out Donald Trump. I mean, I'll show you one thing that I just found fascinating that nobody called out. There's a lot, but here's wait, why did it? Okay, here it is. Trump said in 2023 he dismissed COVID-19 vaccine safety claims and said he saved 100 million lives. And for those who've been watching me for a long time, thank you for being here. To anybody who's new, we appreciate you too. But I would say I'm like one of the, and maybe this is not true because there are definitely people in media that were saying stuff. But as far as prominent people that could actually get through to Trump, pretty much nobody was calling him out on this stuff. And I found it really weird. I was like, listen, guys, you don't have to turn into a Democrat. You don't have to hate Donald Trump. You don't even have to attack him personally. But it started weirding me out that nobody in conservative media, none of the influencers, none of the people that had Trump's ear, they all acted like this didn't happen. And that's what I'll say to Tucker Carlson, perhaps, and not to make this like personal at him, because I really like Tucker Carlson. But the mistake that he made and many made is they babied Trump way too much. And let me preface this by saying I understand why they did it because I'm not important enough for Trump to care that much about me. Like, let me be honest. I think I have some impact in the world, but I'm not like Tucker. I'm not, Steve Bannon, who he knows. I'm not some hedge fund person who gives him money. So I'm pretty low down the list of people that Trump gives a crap about. So, I'm farther. I mean, maybe he'll put me on a list one day if he hasn't already, but I'm further down the list of people that will feel Trump's wrath if I call him out. So it's a little easier for me to call him out because I don't really know Trump. And the only thing I'm going to lose is like invites to GOP events, which I'm totally fine with. But Tucker, like maybe if he called him out earlier on this stuff, Trump would have freaked out at him or something, and everybody was like afraid of Trump freaking out at him. I don't know why they didn't do it. There had to be a reason. But that is the mistake I think everybody in Republican media made. They played stupid on Trump for years. They were like, "Oh, he's better than like DeSantis." And I told people during the primary, I said, I'd rather DeSantis win the primary, not because I like DeSantis so much, not because I trust DeSantis. I don't, not because he's not sold out to the Israel lobby. He obviously is, but because people don't like DeSantis that much. And I said, it's probably better than Trump because Trump is also sold out to the Israel lobby. He's also probably more sold out to the pharmaceutical lobby than DeSantis is. I don't think Trump is effective on domestic policy. Like, even though I think DeSantis is sold out and a scammer and a politician, I think DeSantis actually does have some Catholic values. Like, I think he actually believes some of the things that Christians believe. I don't think Trump believes any of that stuff. So I told people during the midterms when everybody like Tucker, no offense, Tucker's amazing. I think he's one of the best journalists in the world, and it's not a competition just on this topic. Just to give him compliments, he does a lot of things way better than me. But on this topic, it's like everyone was like, DeSantis is sold out. DeSantis works for the establishment, but Trump is so different. And I was like, he's not different. The only difference is everybody acts stupid on Trump. So why would we want a guy in office that nobody wants to call out? I wanted DeSantis to win the primary, not because I liked him, because I knew everybody would hold the line on DeSantis, but they wouldn't on Trump. And everything I thought would happen would happen. And even during the election, if you go back and watch my video, I have to go watch it to see exactly how it aged. But I told people, I said, this is not an endorsement. I'm not endorsing Donald Trump. I don't want to endorse Donald Trump. I don't trust him at all. I know he's a phony. I know he's a sellout. But I'm personally just going to vote for him over Biden because I want the border closed. I want to roll the dice on RFK at HHS or wherever Trump's going to put him. And I want to roll the dice on the wars, which that dice roll turned out terrible. He didn't end the Ukraine war. He started the Iran war. And he's even worse than he was the first term. So that dice roll was a complete failure. And I'm open to criticism. If people have the thought process of like maybe Kamala wouldn't have gone that far, it's a possibility. Maybe she would have, and it doesn't matter. She would have left the border open, which would have been a travesty. But I'm open to communication of like, that was a mistake. That wasn't a mistake. But I didn't like campaign or endorse Trump. I just said I prefer him over Biden because I want the border closed. But I knew that if he won, we would all have to kind of hold the line against Trump and hold him accountable because I know he's a phony and I know he already was a phony. And if nobody calls him out on his phoniness, it's just going to get worse. And I think that's the difference between like me and Tucker, who go find Tucker's criticisms of Trump in 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023. They weren't very plentiful. It was like, I don't want to like, I want, and then not just him, I would say like even other influencers, they're like, I don't want to believe Trump sold out to the Israel lobby, so I'll just close my eyes. And I'm like, well, that doesn't make it not true. I don't want to believe Trump's a sellout to Big Pharma. I just think he got tricked. Well, I put together reports and I showed people that he didn't just get tricked. Like, he's totally in on it. If he got tricked, he's permanently tricked because he never regrets it. He yells at people who disagree with him. He takes credit for the vaccine. Like, he gave Bill Gates a White House position. Everybody in MAGA tried to act like Trump was this innocent, stupid victim who just got bamboozled, but really meant well. And that's what they would tell themselves and tell their audience, but they wouldn't do the research. And if I showed them the research, it would be like throwing water on a witch. They were like, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to see it. I'd rather just be ignorant. Ignorance is bliss. And I'll just pretend that Trump's a really good guy. And he didn't mean to do any of this. And I'm like, the opposite is true. I'm not saying he's a bad guy. I mean, I do think he is, but he's all in on it. It would be like, I don't think Bill Gates really meant to do that. I mean, maybe, but what if he did? And you're just lying to yourself and coping. So, there's a lot of clips I want to play, and I'm not trying to dunk on Tucker because he's honestly one of my favorite people in journalism. He seems like he has a soul and a conscience, and, he's really taken a lot of risk these last couple of years to be way more honest than most media journalists. So this isn't meant to be like a massive criticism. I'm not a critic, but it's just an analysis where I think he feels bad because I think he played really dumb for really long, hoping that Trump was somebody, giving him the benefit of the doubt and thinking that maybe he'd turn it around. And then Trump stabbed him and everybody like him in the back, where it's not even like a big tent in the party. I've talked about this a lot. Trump almost, it seems like he wants to lose the midterms. Like, let me give you an example real quick. Say you're the president of the United States. You're allowed to call people out. I'm not asking Trump to just be like a, a kitty cat. I was going to say the P word, but I don't want to really curse yet or at all if I can help it. But, Trump's allowed to go after journalists who go after him. But if you want to win an election, there's certain people that want to vote for you. Tucker Carlson wants to vote for you. Alex Jones wants to vote for you. Candace Owens wants to vote for you. Who else is he going at? Megyn Kelly probably will vote for Donald Trump still. So it's like there's a way to call people out, but still be like, listen, you don't understand me. You're wrong about the war in Iran. However, I understand why you feel the way that I felt last year, and we still want you on our side, but you got to relax a little bit. Like there's a way to graciously make a message, and Trump doesn't do that. He said throughout the last year, he said, if you still care about the Epstein stuff, which is literally most of the country, by the way, left or right, and independent especially, Trump says, if you care about the Epstein stuff, I don't want you. You're not MAGA. Well, okay. Well, that's like 80% of the country or 90% of the country, not MAGA then. If you like Tucker Carlson, if you like Candace Owens, which he keeps saying that they're unpopular. This is the thing that really annoys me with Trump. I'm fine if he goes after people who go after him in an honest way, but the dishonesty is really bothersome. Like, say what you want about Tucker, say what you want about Candace, right? Some people love Candace Owens. Some people love Tucker Carlson. Some people don't care. You're going to say they're not popular? He promotes Mark Levin every day. Mark Levin is not popular. Mark Levin is not even like a top 5 person at Fox News. Not Megyn Kelly. Laura Ingram's popular. Sean Hannity's popular. I don't like Sean Hannity, but he's pretty popular. Jesse Waters is probably more popular than Mark Levin. So taking Candace Owens, who literally has like millions of fans, and she does like the biggest numbers in the world, on some of her, like she'll have like hundreds of thousands of people watching her live. That's a level that like nobody's at in politics. I would say Candace is easily top 5, top 10, not even debatable. But Trump says you're not even popular. So he's convincing himself Candace isn't popular. She is. Tucker's not popular. He is. It's Mark Levin and Lindsey Graham and the Rothschilds and Alan Dershowitz. These are my homies, and everybody else just needs to go away. Like, does Trump want to just lose the election? Is he purposely blowing it? Is he surrounded by neocons and Zionists who just tell him his shit doesn't stink so they can use him and manipulate him and pay him? Is Trump just like a character in a movie where he's the controlled opposition Judas Goat who's going to lift the Republican Party up and then spike it into the floor? Any possibilities open, but Dan Scavino, Trump, and all of his strategists, it's like, what are you doing? We have an election in 6 and 7 months. I'm not saying that you can't say anything, but it's almost like he doesn't even want to win. I'm not voting in the midterms. Trump's threatening to put influencers on a list that he doesn't like, and his list is going to be probably one of the stupidest lists you've ever seen in your life. It's going to be like Cat Turd, Eric Daughtry, Gunther Eagleman. These are true patriots. Mark Levin, Dershowitz. The bad people are Glenn Greenwald. Like, it's probably going to be the dumbest list I've ever seen in my life. I think he's overestimating like how many people still believe him, and he's underestimating how many people are like weirded out by his rhetoric and just the way he acts. There's still super fans. There's absolutely people who still love Trump in the millions, but I would say there's tens of millions of people. Like, if I talk to people about Trump, I would say I've met a few people that just like everything he does. Absolutely. But if I take myself out of it and just listen to what they're saying and don't lead them any direction, I've gotten way more caution and like, what's he doing with Epstein stuff? I don't understand like his rhetoric. So I don't know. It's a really weird strategy. I got a few things to get through, and this is all going to kind of like overarch into the same dynamic of what's going on. So let's play some more clips because it's all going to circle back. As a Corinne Jean-Pierre used to say, or was it the evil redhead girl who looked like the Chucky bride? She'd be like, let's circle back. We'll circle back to that. It's like, we've been circling around. We've been circling for a long time. We're never, it's like Joe Biden, Joe Biden's son took money from Burisma. Can we talk about that? We'll circle back to that. It's like seven years later. There's no circling back, but speaking of Hunter Biden taking money, I think Trump and his family and his son-in-law is surpassing Hunter Biden. So obviously I care about that, but it's like open season for all of Trump's buddies. They're just like financially, I'll just say roping because I don't want to change the O for an A, but financially roping the world right now, but that's okay. Here's Alan Dershowitz, who was Jeffrey Epstein's lawyer, who said that he was introduced to Jeffrey Epstein by Lady and Lord Rothschild. Here's Alan Dershowitz saying he's officially a Republican. Let's hear why he's a Republican. It must be because, he really cares about conservative values, right? And the future of America. Let's listen.
Here, Alan, how you doing these days?
Well, I'm in a converting mood. I just converted from Democrat to Republican, but I'm remaining a Jew.
Okay. Now tell us about this party conversion. What caused you finally to do this?
So let's hear what caused Alan Dershowitz to do this. Was it the open border? Is that what made him want to be a Republican? Was it the LGBTQ takeover of children's schools and Tampon Tim? Was it the high crime rates in the cities and the fact that Democrat prosecutors just don't seem to prosecute anybody? Was it the spending levels of the left? Was it vaccine mandates, perhaps? Maybe it was vaccine mandates, because that was really crazy. Let's listen to what Alan Dershowitz cared about, because it's none of those things, actually, that none of them make him want to be a Republican. He was a Democrat, and he was fine with it. It was Israel. So let's listen to him say it.
Well, the Democratic Party has become the most anti-Israel party in the history of the United States. And it's veering, at least many of its extremists, toward anti-Semitism. And I must do everything in my power to prevent the Democrats from getting control of the House, from getting control of the Senate, and in 3 years getting control of the presidency. So,
isn't that fascinating? Wasn't the open border, wasn't vaccine mandates, wasn't the liberal perversion, wasn't the loose prosecutors who were letting criminals out of jail, who were stabbing and killing people. It was Israel and the Jewish stuff, right? But you can't say that it was that, because that's anti-Semitism. But, Alan just really was passionately for that. And now the Republican Party is the home for that. And this is I would say one of the issues, not just with Alan per se, but with a lot of the donors who dump money into the Republican Party. And this is what Republicans, I think, need to figure out, and Democrats, but I don't know what the Democrats are doing. When a donor dumps $250 million into Donald Trump, that's a lot of money. They want something with that money. If you listen to enough podcasts and enough interviews and enough donor speeches, you'll figure out exactly what they want. So if the Republican and Democratic Party are being paid off by people who want them to do things for Israel, or want them to do things for Big Pharma, or want them to do things for anything, that's what they prioritize. So you see someone like Don Bacon. Don Bacon has taken millions from the Israel lobby, yet he voted to keep hundreds of thousands of Haitian refugees here because his allegiance to what conservative voters voted for doesn't matter as long as he supports Israel. It's the same thing with Elise Stefanik. She's one of the worst politicians in Washington. She's horrible. One of the worst Republicans, but she's basically like a female Mike Huckabee. She's like, Israel, what can I do for Israel? So she gets promoted and she gets rewarded. And it's not just the fact that people have multiple loyalties. It seems like they only have a singular loyalty to one foreign nation, and then anything for us doesn't matter. It's like, oh, we need voter ID. Let's just let America spy on our citizens in order to get voter ID. It's like, why are we losing a constitutional right just so you could pass a voter ID law? That doesn't even make any sense. I want to play this clip real quick. It took me a long time to make yesterday. It's a little report I made where this goes hand in hand with the, fighting anti-Semitism. For World Cup incoming viewers that want to enjoy the World Cup in America, their social medias are going to be scanned for anti-Semitism. That's been happening anyway since the last year. And if the State Department decides that they are connected to any sort of promotion of anti-Semitism in any way, they'll be denied a visa or a chance to see the World Cup in America, because apparently in order to get into the United States of America, they need to police your speech around Israel. Which is, making me think I've said this for probably years now. I think we're just a colony of Israel at this point. And I'd rather just be honest about it. It's like if you're an island owned by France or something, you're an island owned by France, or it's like, oh, this Greenland is owned by one, I forget which country, is it Norway or Sweden, or like one of the Norwegian, I don't know, one of these Nordic countries controls Greenland. I'll look it up when this is playing. But it's like, let's just be honest. Like, who are we? Because we're clearly, the Constitution doesn't matter to Donald Trump. Conservative values don't matter to most people around Trump. The founding fathers, it doesn't, the vision isn't the same vision of the politicians now. They're willing to pass speech laws for one foreign nation. Like, can we just have like an honest, calm conversation? And can you just let us know if we've already been conquered by Israel and we're like officially a colony now? Because there's no other way to justify policing hate speech for a foreign nation in order to watch the World Cup in America. It's actually embarrassing and humiliating, just like it was for Australia when they wouldn't let Djokovic play because he didn't get a vaccine. Like, that's the level we're at here. Apparently, the United States is going to bar World Cup attendees tied to anti-Semitism abroad. The U.S. will ban individuals accused of promoting anti-Semitism from attending the 2026 FIFA World Cup, says the U.S. anti-Semitism envoy, Rabbi Yehuda Kaplun. Coming to this country is a privilege, not a right. Last year, the DHS under Trump began screening social media activity of non-citizens in America, and it seems like their entire logic is citizens of America have the First Amendment, but people coming to our country as tourists, students, or workers do not have the First Amendment. But not just not having the First Amendment, specifically around the topic of anti-Semitism. What you think anti-Semitism means doesn't matter. What matters is the official government definition of anti-Semitism that they'll be using to police incoming attendees to the World Cup. These are examples of anti-Semitism by the State Department, making mendacious, dehumanizing, demonizing, or stereotypical allegations about such as the power of a collective, such as, especially but not exclusively, the myth about a world conspiracy or of controlling media, economy, government, or other societal institutions, accusing citizens of being more loyal to Israel or the alleged priorities of worldwide than to the interests of their own nations. Multiple of the examples include Israel, so now the foreign nation of Israel has special protections under this definition, and one of them even talks about symbols and images associated with classic anti-Semitism, claims of killing Jesus or blood libel to characterize Israel or Israelis. So now biblical discussion could possibly be considered anti-Semitism. This image came out of Lebanon recently, and the IDF, Netanyahu, and the foreign minister of affairs apologized for it. But around the world, anti-Semitism can be a crime that could put you in prison or get you a fine. Even Ukraine recently, who happens to have a president that this word anti-Semitism essentially protects from ethnic accusations, signed or passed a bill into law where anti-Semitism is a crime. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. But I'm going to say this, and I'm going to be super clear. When it comes to foreign policy around the war in Iran or Israel or Ukraine, Americans are allowed to agree and disagree. I don't care if you have a different foreign policy than me. That's okay. But I'm tired of being gaslit and called an anti-Semite when I point stuff like this out, because defining hate speech for one race, one religion, and one foreign country in the United States of America is un-American and, in my opinion, unconstitutional. But rights don't seem to be something that Trump cares about. Recently, he admitted when saying he wanted to sign FISA, "I am willing to risk the giving up of my rights and privileges as a citizen for our great military and country." Giving up our rights is not American, and it's certainly not conservative or Republican. So what is Trump doing? And why is his government so obsessed with policing hate speech for one race, one religion, and one country? Pretty embarrassing they're doing this for World Cup attendees. Let me know what you think in the comment section. So a few things. First of all, Denmark owns, I'm sorry, I couldn't think of it off the top. Denmark owns Greenland. But when it comes to Trump and that FISA bill, the fact that he's not even pretending that it's not taking away our rights, because usually like half of his message was like, oh, FISA, it's not taking away your rights. It's just to spy on criminals, whatever. And then he just literally writes, he's like, I'm willing to give up my rights and privileges as a citizen. I'm not. I mean, obviously, it's not up to me. They're going to do it anyway. But I don't want to give up my rights and privileges, because it's like George Bush starts a war off of 9/11, right? I get it. He wants retaliation, allegedly, for what they said was true. But now an Al-Qaeda guy leads Syria, and they invited him to the White House. So clearly something was off there. But it's like, okay, now we have to give up our rights because this new war starts. Trump campaigned on not starting wars. Then he starts a war, and now we have to give up our rights and privileges as a citizen because he started the war that Ben Shapiro and all of the Ben Shapirites wanted to start. $9 super chat. Someone said, how hard is it to track fraud in this artificial intelligence information age? Yeah, it's not hard to track at all, but they're all doing fraud. And, I don't want to get too sidetracked, but I appreciate the super chat. They anything that they do to other people will be done to them, and I think they're super nervous about it because even like the Hunter Biden Burisma, I'm pretty sure the stuff that Trump is doing is like surpassing what even Hunter Biden did, and I don't like Hunter Biden. So with fraud, it's like the entire government is a fraud. They're spending billions of dollars, tens of billions of dollars. Like look at some of the contracts that they're getting, who they're giving it to. Donors pay a politician, then they give a contract to them. They give a contract to the company that their son's advisor board's on. Jared Kushner's running rampant all over the Middle East. So it's like, but Nick Shirley said that this Somalian thing is doing this. It's like, that's like boomer bait. Yeah, I'm sure Somalians are doing weird stuff in Minnesota, and I'm not a fan of it, but I don't even think that scratches the surface of the fraud. And I don't think Trump, like, if you listen to Trump's rhetoric, he doesn't even talk about draining the swamp anymore. Like it's not of interest to him. What is of interest to him is fighting wars in the Middle East. And that's like all he cares about, building ballrooms, fighting wars in the Middle East, and pretending that he's like stronger than, Arnold Schwarzenegger, faster than Usain Bolt. He could have crossed the Delaware River faster than George Washington. He probably could have built a bigger ark than Noah. Like Trump wants everybody to think that he's the greatest human of all time who could have solved every crisis ever better than everyone ever. So it's like, he's not interested in that. But back to the whole anti-Semitism thing. Think about this, right? In Ukraine, I didn't put it in my Instagram reel thing because I didn't have enough time / I don't know. I didn't feel like writing it in there, but I'll do it for this video. These are just facts, right? Volodymyr Zelensky is Jewish. The guy who bankrolled his campaign and who created the television network that had the television show that made him famous. I don't know if people remember this. I'm sure most people here do, but if you don't, Zelensky of Ukraine was actually a comedian, and then he was turned into like a famous actor because they had this PSYOP show where they said he was the president of Ukraine fighting corruption. It was called Servant of the People. They put it on television for 4 years. It was one of the biggest shows in Ukraine. So they already saw him through the PSYOP that he's the president fighting their corruption. The television network was owned by Kolomoisky, who is also Jewish. He built one of the biggest Jewish facilities in the world. Look it up. And he's also, I think he was under the Biden administration banned from the United States. He's facing all these like banking lawsuits in England. Like there's a lot of scandals there. I think one of, Zelensky's guys like had a corruption charge in Ukraine and he fled to Israel. So I'm just saying, like, think about what do they call it? The chutzpah of Zelensky to pass a anti-Semitism crime law into Ukraine that protects his own ethnicity. Like, imagine if I'm like, I'm a bunch of different ethnicities, but let's just say I'm going to pick one of them, Italian, right? Let's just say I'm 100% Italian and I become the leader of like Mexico. And then I pass a law into Mexico that says you can't criticize Italian people more than I want you to. You can't criticize Italy. Me and my Italian friends who are taking over stuff, like you can't say that we're doing it. That's anti-Italophobia. You can't say we own media companies, even though we do. You can't say we influence politics, even though we literally do on both sides, statistically more than anybody. This is now hate speech, and we don't want you saying that sort of stuff. That's what they're doing in like literally every country. Like, I don't know a nicer way to say it. It's not that everyone's doing it. It's not that it's like every single person, but it is something that is being passed like all over the world. And it's really weird. And now we need to police incoming visa people to make sure that they worship Israel. We are a colony of Israel. We've been conquered. Like the United States that George Washington had in mind, it doesn't exist anymore. So, at least I just want a little bit of transparency from the Trump administration who's selling us out. But he doesn't do that. And the weird thing that I find too, I said a little bit in that video, but I want to kind of just be super, super clear on it. if you have a different foreign policy agreement, I get it. Like foreign policy is complex. Obviously, I think I'm right with what I say, but because I'm not acting like I know everything, however, everyone thinks they're right with foreign policy. People that are pro-Iran war think they're right. People that are against it think they're right. That's natural. That's healthy in a society of free people to have a disagreement of how to play superpower, right? I understand that. Even though I think the stakes are super high, there's lives on the line, et cetera, our financial supply, the petrodollar, it's in a free America, you should be allowed. You don't have to like any country. You could love Russia. You could dislike Russia. You could love Israel. You could think they're the worst country in the world. You could love Palestine. You could hate Palestine. Like Americans shouldn't have to have loyalty or hatred for any other country. And that's what George Washington said also. But, whatever. I'm better than George. Okay. I'm just saying, George, he went across the Delaware River a little slow. I'm just saying, Trump, I could have built a Trump steamboat, okay? Even back then in 1776, my Uncle Trump, he had Tesla technology, okay? We could time travel. He just was a little slow. I'm just saying, George Washington's a little slow. John Hancock, his signature, a little small like his hands. My hands are really big, though. Look at my big hands. I'm big boy Trump, okay? So I'm just saying the founding fathers were more like the founding mothers. Maybe they were trans. I don't know. They wore wigs. It was disgusting. What wig is that? Ben Franklin? I mean, I heard you were having way too much sex and you have a wig on. It's super gay. You look like an 80s rock band. It's disgraceful. Your stomach is protruding through your disgusting wig. Anyway, I don't even remember where we were. What was I talking about before that? I got totally sidetracked. Trump came into my room and tried to beat me up. Oh no, I'm Rosie O'Donnell. I need to flee the country. Trump's trying to beat me up inside my own head. No, I'm just kidding. Little hands, okay. Someone said, "Hey, genius." Hey, let's not talk about Artemis. If you want me to get back on track, the last thing you need to bring up is space stuff, because I will derail this whole show for 30 minutes and I'll enjoy every moment of it. So let's not go there. But yeah, with foreign policy, I get where I was now. It's fine to disagree, but I know my audience understands this, but you've seen a huge awakening of people talking about this stuff, and you don't have to be crazy about it, and you don't have to be rude about it. It's like if I say they're passing hate speech laws and you just call me an anti-Semite or say I'm hating, you're covering for those laws. And I think that, all right, well, let's get a $20 super chat. Listen, I'll tap dance for money. Thank you, Julius. He said, to learn who rules over you, simply find out who you're not allowed to criticize. That's anti-Semitism. You're banned from the World Cup. You can't watch Mexico play USA. Just kidding. But it's like people won't allow any room for you to say what I'm saying, which is I want all of these speech laws out of America. I want all these anti-boycott laws out of America, because they have no desire to get them out of America. They're pushing them further and further and further, which is bizarre. But let me play a few clips of Trump. I'll always just circle back, but here's a Trump saying something about like he could have like done like Vietnam really fast or something, whatever that means. I'm going to play the clip and then I'll react.
And when it's over, and it will end, when it's over, they want it to be over immediately. And I just looked at a little chart. World War I, 4 years and 3 months. World War II, 6 years. Korean War, 3 years. Vietnam, 19 years. Iraq, 8 years. I'm 5 months.
So I don't know exactly what he means by that. Like he's comparing himself to other wars and being like, dude, these lasted years. It's only been 5 months for me, which is true. But if you think about, and I don't know what the history books will say, but if you think about the Afghanistan war and the Iraq war, this is kind of all a massive extension for it. So we've really been at war for like 30, 40, maybe 30 years now, almost, maybe 25. I'm losing count, but let's listen a little more.
Okay, 5 months. I would have won Vietnam very quickly. I would have, if I were president, I would have won Iraq in the same amount of time that we won, because essentially we've won here. Okay, I mean, people can play games. The Democrats can say, well, we should have done better. No matter what. If I did it in 1 week, they'd say we should have done better. Look at Venezuela. I took it over in 45 minutes.
So now he's saying that it's only Democrats, essentially. He's trying to frame it as like left versus right, which, yeah, the Democrats are saying stuff, but he's saying he could have done Iraq just as fast as Iran. Like Iran's going great. He could have done Vietnam even faster. Um, I got to read this. I know I have other stuff to do, but I have to read this, like this True Social post. He talks about, and I'm going to read this in my Trump voice due to popular demand. He talks about what's his name? Tim Cook is leaving Apple, and Trump reminisces on the time that Tim Apple or Tim Cook, Tim Pool. Trump calls him Tim Apple, which is funny sometimes, but Tim Pool wishes he could be Tim Cook. That's like it's like Bulbasaur, Ivysaur, Venusaur. It's like Tim Pool, and then Tim Cook's at the top of that. So he just needs a few more beanie level ups, and maybe he'll get there one day. But he says that Tim Cook used to kiss his ass, and then he says one of the dumbest things I've ever heard in my life, which is that Tim Cook did a better job than Steve Jobs could ever do. Let's keep in mind that Tim Cook wouldn't even be there without Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs was probably one of the most innovative and like interesting business moguls of our time. Like there would be no Apple without, I don't think, Steve Jobs. But Trump claims that, Tim Cook's way better than Steve Jobs because, Tim Cook kissed Trump's ass. And I guess like Steve Jobs couldn't stay alive long enough to kiss Trump's ass. So let's read this thrilling novel by Donald J. Trump on True Social, because Lord knows it's not just one paragraph. He had to make an entire essay out of it. All right, this is the post. I've always been a big fan of Tim Cook and likewise Steve Jobs, but if Steve was not taken from the planet Earth so young and ran the company instead of Tim, the company would have done well, but nowhere near as well as under Tim. For me, it began with a phone call from Tim at the beginning of my first term. He had a fairly large problem that only I, as president, could fix. Most people would have paid millions of dollars to a consultant who I probably would have not known, but who would say that he knew me well. The fees would be paid, but the job would have not gotten done. When I got the call, I said, "Wow, it's Tim Apple Cook calling. How big is that?" I was very impressed with myself to have the head of Apple calling to kiss my ass. Anyway, he explained his problem. A tough one it was. I felt that he was right and had got it taken care of quickly and effectively. That was the beginning of a long and very nice relationship. I'm not even going to read the rest of it, but it's like, dude, Trump is such a retard. It's actually insane. It's like his entire message, because Tim Pool's protege, Tim Apple, aka Tim Cook. I keep getting all the Tims mixed up, but Tim Cook, like, is stepping down or getting fired or getting replaced. So Trump has to just make an essay about himself where he's like, I was so impressed with myself. Wow, wow. The leader of Apple is kissing my ass. Wow, I'm such a good boy. This means he's better than Steve Jobs. It's like, bruh, what? Like, there's something going on. It's kind of funny, but it's also like, I'm laughing about his supporters having to like defend all this stuff. Not that it matters that much that he's making a Truth Social about Tim Cook, but like if you're a super fan, you have to be like, yeah, no, definitely Tim Cook's better than Steve Jobs ever would have been. It's like, yeah, okay. And then freaking, I don't know. Zach Levine's better than Michael Jordan. I'm sure he is. That makes total sense. I saw another one where he keeps posting today and yesterday about how like Operation Midnight Hammer, which is not what Lindsey Graham does in Tel Aviv or at Disneyland. For those confused, Operation Midnight Hammer was like a American thing where we like blew up, the Top Gun 2 script or whatever. It was literally the exact script. They like, here's a movie for conservatives. We'll just brainwash you to support the Iran war. And then they like blew up some underground nuclear dust site or something. I don't know what they even really did, but Trump keeps saying like it was this massive accomplishment. It's amazing. We got rid of it. But then like 2 days before, he'll say, no, what happened was I don't know, like we had to get rid of the nuke from Iran. So I don't really know like which one is true. Did Operation Midnight Hammer go so well that they didn't have any nuclear stuff anymore? Or did you need to join Israel to attack Iran because they were going to get a nuke? Like, even in his own words, all of my comments on Facebook, like everyone outside of like the biggest fans of Trump are just literally confused. Like, we're trying to give you the benefit of the doubt. We don't want Democrats to win. Like we want you to be a good president, but we're getting so many mixed signals. Like we don't like it's like one day Operation Midnight Hammer took everything out and no like let me read this real quick. Sorry, I'm getting a little distracted by the super chats, but I'm not going to complain. Someone said, "Do you think they'll take a drone to take out the fraudsters or erase the truth tellers exposing the frauds?" I don't think they're going to do either of it. I think they're just going to pretend to do something about it and never do it. But with the Operation Midnight Hammer thing, I think I figured out Trump just like through the years, and maybe I'm wrong, who knows, but he doesn't like to admit that he ever did anything wrong. So with the Operation Midnight Hammer, he has to pretend like it was perfect and a huge success and it got rid of their nukes. Because if it wasn't a huge success and got rid of the nukes, then it wasn't like the best, greatest military operation. But in Trump's head, he's Michael Jordan, he's Wayne Gretzky, he's Jesus, he's Moses. Like Trump is everybody great combined. So like everything he does has to be the best. So it's like on one hand, he's clinging on to Operation Midnight Hammer because he's like, dude, we got rid of all of it. All the nuclear dust is blown up. Now we got to go retrieve it or whatever. But then the whole premise that he claims, I mean, he said 7 different stories, but the main one that seems to be the one he says the most in our interviews is that we had to go attack them because they would have got a nuke and they would have like blown us up. So we had to get their nuke. But both of his stories don't make any sense together. But in Trump's head, it makes sense because it's like Operation Midnight Hammer was perfect and Operation Work with Israel to get rid of their nukes went perfect. But most people listening are like, it doesn't add up. Like one of them, it's not that Operation Midnight Hammer was like a huge failure, but if they still had nukes, then it didn't get rid of their nukes. But Trump can't admit it, so he has to kind of just keep going with it. It reminds me of this right here. Like he couldn't admit that Operation Warp Speed wasn't good because it wasn't. So he just said like, I saved 100 million lives. Like no one said that. No one, like even Fauci and Bill Gates, no one was claiming like 100 million because that's such an astronomically like retarded number that nobody believes. But Trump in his head, he's the greatest of all time. So if someone says it saved 10 million lives, Trump will say it saved 20 million lives. If someone said it might have saved 40 million lives, according to this poll of Research Institute we did, Trump says, I think I might have saved 100 million lives with my vaccines. I'm the father of the vaccines. The vaccines are incredible. And this is just the type of guy he is. Everything's embellished. Everything is perfect. And if you disagree now, I guess he just hates you. Like there's no room to say he's wrong. You can't disagree with the war. You can't disagree with his anti-Semitism laws. You can't not like Mark Levin as much as him. Like Trump needs complete and utter loyalty. And I would assume that any normal person around him doesn't want to say anything. And then the only types of people that are actually saying stuff to him that actually believe it are either the ones influencing him or perhaps the ones that are just like trying to save face. I'm not really sure. I'm going to play this clip real quick and get back to some of the other stuff. But this is a compilation I made during the COVID era. And I just want to replay it back because we'll just see how all of this stuff aged. And to the headline where I talked about Tucker apologizing, I don't think Tucker has to apologize. I don't think anyone has to apologize, but it's like thinking Trump could be better than Kamala is understandable. Still believing Trump is better than Kamala, I think at this point, unfortunately, it's debatable, which is sad to even admit, but I think it's still understandable. And this is not directed at Tucker because I like Tucker, but this is really directed at everyone in Republican politics, conservative media, everyone who kissed Trump's ass for years. Like if a Democrat wins, we don't get anything and they don't listen to us, right? This is I just want to say my thought process on all this stuff. And you could disagree, it's fine. But with Joe Biden, no one's answering the phone. He doesn't pretend to share our values. He doesn't run on closing the border. He runs on opening it, or he runs on liberal stuff. So liberals should really try to pressure Joe Biden into doing what they want, or at least call him out, because that's their guy. That's their party. I'm a registered Republican. I'm Christian. I'm more conservative than liberal, although I don't even know what those words mean anymore because clearly nothing that the politicians are doing. So the reason that I go harder at Trump than Biden is not because I like Joe Biden. It's just like everyone says the same thing about Joe Biden. Every conservative influencer points out everything, and that's fine. But I don't like to do generic, simple stuff because it's like if all you do is call out Biden and all you do is suck off Donald Trump, then we don't get anything either way. It's like when we win the entire election, now I want to say, you know what? I'm not one of your haters. I'm not a Democrat. I'm a Republican. I voted for you. I'm going to say what I think because I helped you get into office, to even if it's one vote or to some extent. And I think every Republican should think that way. Not that you shouldn't call out Joe Biden, but at bare minimum, everyone should have been calling out Trump for years and they weren't. And that's why he's so bad right now, I think, because like in 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024, Tucker Carlson and the biggest influencers in the world, they didn't say anything to Donald Trump. They just assumed that he was on their page. They just assumed that he meant well. They just assumed that he was going to do better. They just assumed that he wasn't going to become a neocon and a Zionist. And they ignored the amount of donor money he was taking. And, I'm going to play this clip, but I'm not bragging. I'm just accurately remembering history. All these people are talking about Miriam Adelson donor money now, right? You hear like if you listen to certain segments that Tucker does now, it's identical to a segment I did in 2019. It's just way better quality because Tucker has like a huge production set and he's very smart and very funny. Like you could even say, if you like Tucker better than me, you could say he's like, a better broadcaster if you feel that way. But it's like, did you just figure this out now? I'm glad Tucker's doing it. I'm not trying to be annoyed at him in any way. But where was everybody in 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024? If there's anything to apologize for, I don't think it has to be for liking Trump more than Kamala. I think it should be for ignoring the fact that he was doing all this stuff for years before. And a lot of this stuff that everyone acts like is brand new, he's been doing it. Like I've told people this on my show for years. I don't know if these other influencers are stupid or they're just playing stupid or they want access to Mar-a-Lago or they're paid or they're not paid. Like I don't make false accusations, but something's up. Like I don't think I'm that much smarter than people. I just think when I hear something, I acknowledge it. And I don't think it's that hard to do. So when people bring stuff to my attention and it's something I didn't know, I'll add it to my arsenal and resume of information. And other people just like block it out. They're like, what if I pretended like he wasn't getting paid by the Adelson family and sending foreign spies homes on their jet? What if I just ignored that for 5 years? And then in 2025, I sit there and I go, oh no, where did this come from? I don't know. And it's like, and then everyone's like, oh my gosh, Amy Coney Barrett sucks. And it's like, I told you this 4 years ago. It's not a competition. It's just like I think people are playing stupid, and I can't figure out if they're actually stupid or they're playing stupid, but I have no tolerance at this point or really just no capacity to care about people who ignore reality for 5 years straight. And then when reality sets in, they're like, who could have saw this coming? I didn't know Trump was going to shell out to Pfizer. What are you talking about? The conversation to have isn't, is Trump a sellout? We've known this. I've known this. How have you not? How do you do news every day and you don't know this? Like when I meet people and they don't know that much, it's not like I brag. I'm like, oh, I'm so smart. I'm like, I do this like 12 hours a day. I should know stuff at this point. I've done this full time since 2018. Like it's not that amazing. It's like a lot of people here that maybe like they say like maybe a lot of people here know just as much as me, but say you don't, and you're like, oh, Anomaly knows a lot. Well, it's probably because you have a different job and you're spending your time doing other stuff, which is fine. It doesn't make me better. It's just like someone who plays baseball full time is going to be better at baseball than someone who only plays baseball as a hobby. You just have more time to learn things. So it's like I don't understand a news person who acts stupid about everything, and then when it all sets in, they just don't know. The combo we need to be having is voting for Kamala is not the answer. Democrats may have been worse on a lot of these topics or exactly the same. So let's stop the BS. Like even with the voter ID, Trump won the last election without this new bill, the House, the Senate, the presidency, and the popular vote. I'm not saying it doesn't matter. There should be voter ID, but he just won without it. And even when he wins, we lose. That's the real stolen election. I said this in 2022. This whole psyop about let's spend 5 years running in circles as we're getting like destroyed by the Democrats and the vaccine industry. It's like that's a psyop because the real stolen election, Hillary didn't win in 2016. Donald Trump did. And you still got locked down, and you still got Fauci, and you still got 15 days to slow the spread, and you still got Operation Warp Speed. That's the stolen election. You think you're getting an outsider, you get the swamp. You think you're getting the guy who doesn't take the donor money, you get the donors. You think you're getting the guy who's against the neocons, you get Lindsey Graham, and then he's mad at Thomas Massie. That's the real stolen election. The real conversation that people need to be having is it doesn't matter that much who you vote for. If you want to vote for Trump, vote for Trump. If you don't. I don't care. But, we need to have this conversation. And no offense, but I'm glad people are talking about it now, but we're paying the price of them not talking about it for 3 or 4 years. Like even the way Tucker's talking about this, and listen, once again, I have to say this, I like Tucker. He's one of my favorite people in media. I think he's an awesome person, but like this whole, like, let me ignore Trump's downfalls for 4 years. Now that I'm acknowledging them and Trump's shitting on me and he started the war I didn't want him to start, now I'm going to act like I regret so much campaigning for him. Why do you regret so much campaigning for him? Kamala probably would have started the war also for the neocons and the Zionists. Kamala's not any different. Maybe she wouldn't have, and maybe, that's really sucks that our party's even worse on that. It's possible, but instead of like playing dumb for 5 years and now acting like you're really sorry, like let's get to the real conversation of like it doesn't matter that much until everybody wakes up to the fact that it doesn't matter that much and everybody starts using their citizen leverage with their First Amendment to just be like, yo, I know what you're doing. And we need to be able to communicate with our party, because that's the whole point. And Trump's intolerance is really alarming. Like I get that he wants to go after people that disagree with him, but Trump literally wants to be like this Zionist puppet, like Mark Levin, Ben Shapiro dictator, where he's just like, I hate everyone who doesn't agree with everything I say. That's not like, even though Joe Biden was a straight up demon, I think Joe Biden is literally a demon. I think he is evil. I think his presidencies was one of the worst in American history. He at least had the political intelligence to just shit on the right all the time. And I'm not even saying it's right. I'm just saying, like, you didn't see Joe Biden saying like F you to like liberal activists and stuff. Joe Biden was like trying to get them to vote for him, where he was like, hey, I'm funding Israel, but I'm trying not to, or something, like he was playing dumb in order to try to win the election. Obviously it didn't work for him, but Trump just being like, screw you. If you don't agree with everything I do or say, I don't want the most popular podcasts. I'll say they're not popular. I don't want people who voted for me 3 times. I'll just say you're bad. I'm going to stick with Mark Levin and say that Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson aren't more popular. I don't know the exact math, but I would guess that Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson combined are probably 10,000 times more popular than Mark Levin. Like if Mark Levin had, didn't have Fox News to prop him up, even though nobody really watches it to that extent, and had to do his own YouTube channel, do you think Mark Levin would get hundreds of thousands of live viewers? Do you think Mark Levin would be able to get tens of millions of listens on his podcast like Tucker Carlson? Tucker Carlson's more popular than me when it comes to podcasting. Candace Owens is more popular than me when it comes to YouTube and podcasting. Like, it's not even debatable. She goes live on Instagram. She gets more live viewers than professional athletes who are super popular. Like, why is he lying about that? It's so counterproductive and strange. But here's the father of the vaccine. And keep in mind, this was 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023. Everybody played stupid on this. And I think when we play stupid on this, we get the current version of Trump, who is just going crazy on people who are now all of a sudden like, oh man, he's really not who I thought he was. Trump is who I thought he was. He's just even slightly worse. I don't know. I knew Trump sucked. I thought he was evil before. I thought he was bad. I thought he was corrupt. I thought he was sold out. But even I'm kind of like flabbergasted, and I by like how bad he is. It's just like I knew he was sold out to the Israel lobby, but now it feels like he just is the Israel lobby. Like before, he was like a puppet ish. Now he just like is them. Like it's almost like he doesn't even exist. And it's just like AIPAC, the ADL, Mark Levin, Alan Dershowitz in a Trump suit or something. That's what it feels like now. It's so weird. But here's pharmaceutical Trump that no Republicans wanted to call out for some reason.
I pushed them like they've never been pushed before, and that's why we have it.
Greatest achievements was getting the vaccine done in 9 months instead of 5.5 to 12 years. But the problem is, we saved tens of millions of lives all over the world, but I can't talk about it because our beautiful base, of which some of you are there, you get angry when we mention the word vaccine. Don't get angry.
You did everything you could to get this vaccine out. I know
it
where you
was
stand
one
on
of
the
the greatest achievements. We did it in less than 9 months. And
to be able to do that.
Yeah,
but now it's taken a twist, right?
And then people don't want it, and it probably even affects the others because, there's a big situation with a lot of people don't want to take the vaccine. Well, this played right into their hands. And they want me to do public service messages and everything about everybody taking the vaccine. And look, I guess in a certain way, I'm the father of the vaccine because I was the one that pushed it. To get it done in less than 9 months was a miracle. Fauci said it would take 3 to 5 years. He thought it was something that just wouldn't be that effective because it would take so long to get. I pushed the FDA like they have never been pushed before. I wouldn't exactly say they're in love with me. They have never. This is a very bureaucratic organization. I push them like they've never been pushed before, and that's why we have it.
The vaccine is one of the greatest achievements of mankind. We would have had in 1917, remember the Spanish flu, killed perhaps 100 million people. Can you imagine if you had to go through what all of the countries of the world who are now getting the vaccine or soon will be getting it from various companies, but can you imagine if all of those countries had to go through what they've been going through over the last year? You'd lose hundreds of millions of people.
Let the teachers get the vaccine. They should get the vaccine. I hope they do. Again, it's something I'm very proud of. I think if we didn't come up during the Trump administration with a vaccine, you could have 100.
$2 super chat for Max Meeks. He said, large channels are afraid to say my name. I wouldn't consider myself like a large YouTube channel, but appreciate the super chat. I'm not afraid to say your name. I'm not really even sure who you are, but if other people are, I'm sorry to hear that, my man. Yeah, that was a compilation I put on Twitter X like 3-4 years ago. And there's a lot to say about Trump, but this is, I think, like an angle I'm going to take now. When Trump was very honest, right? Like I would even say he ran a good campaign before he got in office. Like this last term, like he acted really normal and like chill during his campaign, which I think helped a lot. But in like 2016, 2015, 2017, 2018, 2019, Trump was super honest, and he was way more honest than everyone else in politics. Like it was hard to even compare him to anybody because he just brought this new energy to Washington, which was very stale. Everybody's like very robotic. They're very corny. And Trump came and just blew the lid off of Washington, which made everybody like him because he was just so real and so honest. Someone said they knew and stayed quiet. You're way better. Well, thank you, Koshius. I appreciate you. God bless you. I mean, I don't think people are stupid. So I would love to interview certain people and like ask them why they waited so long, but it is what it is. And then like in 2020, this is where I kind of took a turn from liking Trump a lot. And I took a segue from other influencers. I was just listening to what he was saying. You can find Twitter tweets or tweet. I don't know. I sound so stupid saying that, but tweets on Twitter from 2020, where he's talking about how great the lockdown is. And you could see me sharing Trump's post. And I said, he's a communist now. Like I believe the same thing I believed in 2019. I'm like, I don't believe in lockdowns. I don't believe in printing money. I like all of these things. It feels very socialist, communist, leftist. And now Trump's doing them, but nobody wanted to say it. So it's like he started getting less and less honest. I started trusting him less, and everybody in unison just kept acting like it wasn't happening. So now when you listen to Trump, once again, even if you agree with me and Tucker Carlson on the war in Iran and Joe Kent or whatever, we all still have to be honest and humble and admit that it's very complex, right? Foreign policy is very complex. It ties in Russia, it ties in China, obviously Israel, Saudi Arabia, UAE. It's very it's hard. It's a gray area. Even though I think there are some things that we're doing that are profoundly wrong, I'm just going to be as thoughtful as I can right now and say there's room for disagreements when it comes to the global order of things and like the giant game of risk on planet Earth. Um, but certain things that Trump says, it's not even just opinion or I disagree with him. He just is straight up lying. He's just straight up gaslighting. And I wish more people would talk about it because it's not only someone said silver lining, we will become smarter voters. Appreciate the super chat. Um, it's almost just intellectually offensive where he'll say certain things and then I'm like, it doesn't make sense to me. It's not good for our party because it's making us all look really stupid. And when nobody voices their opposition to it, he just keeps doing it more and more and more. The affordability issue is one thing. When Biden was in office, he said there's a huge problem with inflation. What Trump didn't tell people is that it wasn't just a Joe Biden or a Democrat problem, even though they're largely responsible. He also printed a lot of money as well. So he was able to like pin it on Biden. And as soon as he got back into office, he's like, there is no affordability issue. That's a stupid talking point. What he should say is, it's going to take a while because we printed so much money and Biden printed way too much money. So give me a couple years to stabilize this because we printed too much money in the name of COVID. That's honest. I could respect that. Even if he started this war and said, our petrodollar's failing, we need to fight a bunch of countries in order to not be a third world country, you might not like it. I might not agree with certain things, but at least that would be honest if that were true, right? Like we need to save the petrodollar. We need to go to extreme measures or else we're going to be a third world country and everybody's going to be poor. That makes more sense than saying there's no affordability issue and we're fighting Iran and threatening them into the Stone Age because we just care about feminists in Iran. Like that's not true. You know, like I'm not saying that Iran's perfect. I'm not saying that they didn't kill any protesters or regime change actors or whoever was doing what they were doing, probably a combination of both. But don't tell me that like Mark Levin just really cares about Iranians. Like just stop. Just stop with the gaslighting. Just let us know what's going on. And I think that's the movement now. Like everyone wants to act like, and by everyone, I mean it's a small amount of people because it's really not many people anymore. But the Trump sycophants at this point, like, do you really think it's the same as 2017 Trump? Like the rhetoric, the way he's acting, the things he's saying. I remember following him on Twitter and just like laughing. I'm like, dang, dude, he's so real. Like it was actually exciting. Like 2017 Trump was exciting because it was like, it was real. And he was saying real things that I thought before he was president. It's not like I believe what he believes. I liked him because he was saying things that no one else would say that was objectively true and everybody fake was spiraling. Now he's just fake. Like it's like, once again, I knew he was controlled by the Israel lobby, but at this point it feels and he talks and he posts like he is the Israel lobby. There's no, like Netanyahu said in a Nelk Boy interview, he said, when there's no daylight between the United States president and the Israeli prime minister, amazing things can happen. Like it seems like there's literally no difference at all. Like he is the Israel lobby. Everybody he posts, it's like Mark Levin, it's like Ayel Jacobi, it's like Alan Dershowitz. I counted one day, he posted Alan Dershowitz 3 times, the same article in 24 hours, 3 different times. And 2 times it had the exact same headline. I follow Trump on True Social because I post on Facebook and I try to disseminate the news because he posts in a corner that nobody reads. So I try to take the best Trump posts and post them on so Facebook can see them and sometimes on Twitter. But I follow him, unfortunately, every day to see what he's posting because he's the president. I've never seen him post the same thing twice in a row. I've never seen him, like 3 times is insane. But Alan Dershowitz, Jeffrey Epstein's former lawyer who got introduced to Jeffrey Epstein by the Rothschilds, who just became a Republican because of anti-Semitism in Israel, not open border or anything conservative. Trump posts him 3 different times. Like it's almost like Trump's broken. Like the Israel lobby is like taking control of Trump's body. And I think I still have it loaded. It reminds me of this episode of it reminds me of the SpongeBob episode where like Plankton's controlling like this big like robot, but he's like really on his brain, just like controlling it. That's like Trump. And it's like the Israel lobby is just like running through his broken like carcass. And it's like malfunctioning. It's like post Alan Dershowitz, post it 3 times, post the same thing twice. Relax. We get it. You agree with Alan Dershowitz. You love Alan Dershowitz. We get it. Alan Dershowitz is in Israel with Miriam Adelson talking about letting you run a 3rd term, and she wants to give you $250 million more. We get it, bro. But like, it's like Trump's carcass is like malfunctioning, and he just like, there's no difference between him and the Israel lobby at this point. Like, is he even running his True Social account? Is it just like Mark Levin or like Ben Shapiro type handlers just posting for him? Or is that who he is? Like, it's hard to tell, but personally, I've heard him say both things. I've heard him say, I'm the one posting on True Social. And then I've heard him say that he's not the one posting on True Social. My best guess, and I don't know this for sure, but just, my best guess is that Trump comes up with the long essay posts with somebody, one of his people. Like, he comes up with what to say, because there's no way anybody else would come up with that. But with the other posts, like in between all of his long essays, Trump is like posting articles and posting tweets and stuff. I can't see him sitting there posting like 15 times in a row on True Social of like random like Instagram and like Twitter posts. So I feel like Trump is coming up with the statements, but somebody else is coming up with all the other posts. So with the Jesus one, where he photoshopped himself, he photoshopped himself as Jesus, like healing somebody, and then he said he thought it was a doctor. I don't know for sure, because Trump is so dishonest, but I don't think he posted that, because I don't think he's sitting there just posting memes. Like, I can't see that possibly being true, but he already told the press that he's the one who posts everything on his True Social. So if he came out and was like, yo, it was my social media guy who I've greenlighted to post all of these things, and he did it by mistake, Trump could save a little face and be like, I wasn't the one who posted that. But he's already committed to the fact that he is the one posting everything all the time. But like, go to his True Social. He'll post 4 times, 5 times about foreign nations, and then there'll be like 30 like spam posts that look like it's some Q-tard posting. Like, he's doing that? I don't think so, but he says he is. I don't know. It's getting weird. But someone said, why bother looking at his stuff? Well, I mean, he is the president of the United States, so I think, at least for like my Facebook page, I post a lot of picture posts. I try to disseminate the news, certain opinions, certain perspectives on both sides through my page. So, Trump it's newsworthy. It like is the news. Like, if he makes a statement on True Social, it's what he's saying. That's the new era. It's like it used to be press conferences where only 7 media companies could get in. Now it's True Social and anyone has access to it. It's kind of interesting if it wasn't so weird. How many Epstein clients have been arrested? Someone said 0. Can a blackmail-proof politician even get elected? Let me go with 2 of those. I'll start with the second one. It's a numbers game, and enough people need to be aware, and then change can happen. And I believe it's happening. I do think now that once Trump is out of the picture and like it's JD Vance versus like Rubio, the GOP is in for a rude awakening, because I do think Trump is like the only thing hanging them together. Like, the fact that so many people are allegiant to him. With that being said, I do think that if like 80% of the public catches on, and as much as annoying as like it is, like that, all this stuff, if you're really honest about yourself, think about how much progress so many people have made from 2016 to 2025, and look at like Dan Bilzerian running for Congress, Casey Pooch, like Tucker talking about this stuff when he never used to. I'm not saying you have to trust or like all these people, but the Overton window has shifted to a place that I never could have even imagined like years ago. So I think a good politician can happen, but it's not like they can just sit there on their own. They need to be protected by the fact that there's hundreds of them and thousands of them, and everybody in media is starting to catch on, and it's starting to happen. Like, dude, no one cares about Mark Levin. Nobody cares about Sean Hannity. Like, people are listening to Theo Vaughn, Tucker, Candace. They're the ones changing the face of the media. It's not Mark Levin. So Trump is like hanging on to this dinosaur concept that, he's got the power in the country. So it's like, that's powerful. But as far as the future of media and conversation, they're out of it. So I think it can happen. And with the Epstein thing, Here's what I'll say about Jeffrey Epstein. Like, I think there's so much mystery around Jeffrey Epstein that everybody fills in the gaps of Jeffrey Epstein with whatever they want to say, because how could you not, to some extent? Like, you read some of the emails, they're weird. He basically is like, that person got killed or something. Like, he's saying, but like, clearly this guy is a top level person. He's throwing parties. He has chicks. He talks about foreign policy. He's like, talking about people getting offed in his emails. If that's what he's talking about in his emails, like, what else is he doing? So I'm not downplaying Jeffrey Epstein, because that would be insane. I'm just saying, like, the reason everybody says everything about Jeffrey Epstein is because nobody wants to talk about Jeffrey Epstein in politics, because they're connected to Jeffrey Epstein and the people that Jeffrey Epstein represented. And to me, I'm not saying Jeffrey Epstein wasn't doing a lot of stuff, but what I see in politicians, because, like, let's just say Jeffrey Epstein was just a pimp, essentially, like a global pimp for everybody. People would have no problem talking about that and being like, he was a pimp, bad guy, trafficking people. I don't want to talk about it. But Jeffrey Epstein was bigger than that, right? Like, and I'm almost like doing the opposite of downplaying it, but it's like, to the people who think that that's all that Jeffrey Epstein was doing, they're saying that because that's a crazy angle of it that's probably true and that there's some evidence of. But he was like connected to the Rothschilds. He was introduced to Alan Dershowitz, who's extraordinarily prominent, by Lady and Lord Rothschild. He's in emails with the one of the prime ministers or one of the head people in Israel, talking about Palantir. That's who Jeffrey Epstein was. He was like, he said he worked and represented the Rothschilds. So it's like, I think Jeffrey Epstein was like a one-stop shop for all of these rich people. If you were rich, if you were famous, if you were successful in politics and trying to make it big in like global affairs, you knew Jeffrey Epstein because he was a top dog. It's like, what do you want? You want a bank? He probably knew a bank. You want a chick? He knew a chick. You want to party on an island? He has an island. You want to, get introduced to a technology company from America? You want to get connected to the Rothschilds? You want to talk to Israel? You want to talk to this person? That's who Jeffrey Epstein was. And nobody wants to say anything about it because Jeffrey Epstein, in my view, was a power level above these people. It's the same way there's like Biden. Is Biden powerful? Yeah, sort of, but he's powerful because he's a puppet that they could dump coins into his back and kick him out onto the stage. And then Biden will do the shucking and jiving that none of these powerful people want to do, because who wants to be Joe Biden? They'd rather be behind the scenes controlling Joe Biden, not taking any of the risk and the backlash. So to me, like, if you listen to how people talk about Jeffrey Epstein, it's almost like they don't even want to, because it's like, it scares them. It scares them. I don't think it just like everybody thinks that everyone around Epstein is scared on like a sexual level. I'm sure some people are. Bill Gates clearly got tangled in that, and that's not good for his like PR. But like, I forget who said it. It was one of Trump's cabinet members who he has doing like, embassy work or something in a foreign country. He was like, dude, I just came to the assumption that, Epstein was like a powerful guy who was like, connected in Israel. Like, he just admitted that. And I think like most people probably thought that, like, who is this guy? He's at all the parties. He knows all the bankers. He knows the Rothschilds. He knows Israel. He knows the prime ministers. He knows the presidents. That's who Epstein was. And like, no one's going to get held accountable because Epstein's friends own everything. You know what I'm saying? Like, the people Epstein worked for are way above Trump. They're way above Biden. They're way above Congress. They're bigger than that. So there's no way that Trump is going to do anything. He doesn't want to. There's no way that the left is going to do anything. And this is the real conversation around it. Because if you listen to like low level Republicans, they'll be like, if they really had something on Trump, the Democrats would have done it. It's like, no, it's bigger than the Democrat. Like, they still believe in this like left versus right. If the Democrats would have exposed Trump, but you guys all think that Bill Clinton is such a deviant and he's so bad, why wouldn't Trump expose Bill Clinton? He doesn't want to. He's friends with Bill Clinton. He says Bill Clinton understands me. He told Republicans, stop questioning Bill Clinton. They brought in Bill Clinton for some sort of congressional question and answer, and Trump said he wished he wouldn't. Why? Because Trump is like Bill Clinton. He sees himself in Bill Clinton. A Trump is like a Bill Clinton. They're both lower level characters in this grand Epstein scheme. It's not all just about parties and trafficking and stuff. I'm not saying that's no part of it. I think that is a part of it, but it's once again, it's not to downplay it. It's just like, if you think he was only a pimp, you're wrong. He knew the Rothschilds. He connected people to foreign nations, to prime ministers, to banks, to loans, to like, you needed it, he had it. He was that guy. He was like the main character in politics to get anything done at any time. And everybody knew and thought, I think, that it was okay to talk to him, because if the Rothschilds like him, who am I to not like him? You know what I'm saying? Like, he's like, he's not getting in trouble. Like, he gets caught doing something, he gets a sweetheart deal. Like, I don't think anyone who did business with him thought he would ever be under scrutiny, because he was so much more powerful than them. It would be like being like a G League player who wanted to be an NBA player talking to like Michael Jordan. You know what I'm saying? You don't think one day there's going to be a huge scandal and, you're going to get in trouble for like working for Michael Jordan. Like, he's the guy. I'm not saying that Epstein's that good. I'm just saying Epstein is that powerful. He's that character in global politics. And once he got, everyone got nervous. And no, the Democrats are not going to expose Trump, because they're complicit also. And they don't want to explain what's going on. Is this a coffee or a tea or a smoothie? It's a thought that counts. Oh, enough to buy a coffee or tea. Thank you so much, Pom Pom Mom. Thank you. I appreciate everything, and even just the kind words. I appreciate that just as much, if not more, than the super chat. Thank you. God bless you. Yeah, and I think that everybody just assumes that politicians are all super afraid of talking about like the sexual aspect of Jeffrey Epstein. I think some of them are. Bill Gates, like I said, like got caught up in that. I'm sure there's plenty of others. But what I think is even bigger in Trump's mind, like, I don't think Trump's super worried about, like, I mean, maybe he is. Maybe he is super worried about the sexual stuff too. That's definitely a possibility. But I think if he were to admit who Jeffrey Epstein was, he would have to admit who he was. If he had to admit, or anyone had to admit who Jeffrey Epstein was and what he did, they would have to admit what they did. You know what I'm saying? Like, who wants to admit, like, hey, I work for the Israel lobby. I get paid a bunch of money and I infringe on the First Amendment for my Israeli donors. I pass speech laws into America. I rig the DHS for Israel. I make sure that people can't come to America now who criticize Israel or criticize, like, global Jewry and talk about it in any format. Like, now they like, he doesn't want to do that. So no one wants to do that, because it's like the Wizard of Oz getting shown behind the curtain. You see the Wizard of Oz. Oh no, they saw me. Now they're not afraid anymore. Like, to me, that's even scarier to them than some of the scandals. Because and I'm not saying this is selfish, but maybe it is selfish in a way that when I saw the Epstein files, I was like, wow, that really reveals who is the Wizard of Oz. And I'm just hoping people figure it out through the emails, because it's all right there, where it's like, is he doing sicko stuff? It definitely seems like it. Is he talking about people getting offed? Absolutely. Like I'm not downplaying any of these things, because they're so important. And in a sane society, they would investigate all of that stuff, but they're not doing that. They just want to stop talking about it. Even off the emails, like, there's a lot of weird shit in there that everyone found that at bare minimum should be looked into. But the fact that they don't want to look into them is obvious. But I really, truly think that they don't want the big picture, because if the big picture is found out, it's over, But if they have to throw certain people under the bus, like, oh, that guy's going to get kicked out of Congress, that guy did messed up stuff, that guy's going to prison, I don't think they care that much about that, because that happens once every 10 years to like a politician. It's like, ooh, Anthony Weiner can't run for politics anymore. Oh no, what Al Franken? Oh no, Al Franken needs to step down. Oh no, like that stuff happens. Something happened recently to somebody. I don't even remember who. I mean, Christy Noam, that was that was really weird. But like those things happen and they don't care that much. But what if it was all revealed? You know what I'm saying? Not just people's affairs, not just what people did, but the entire system of global politics. They can't tell you that. They can't show you that. So they just want you to ignore it. But like if everyone came to the conclusion, it's not even really my opinion. It's like Trump's taking hundreds of millions of dollars from people who want him to do things for Israel, and he will infringe on our First Amendment rights for Israel. That's insane, but he'll never admit it. And the Democrats don't call him out on it. It's like, it's the Wizard of Oz. It's the Roman, it's not even the Roman theater. It's like the WWE. It's like, they don't want you to think that the Undertaker and Stone Cold Steve Austin secretly know each other and they're friends. Like they can't let you know that. But it's so obvious at this point because like everybody's even saying, it's like, why didn't the Democrats call out Trump over the Epstein stuff? Because they don't want to. Why doesn't Trump call out Bill Clinton on the Epstein stuff? Because he doesn't want to. Why? You know, they say that Trump worked for Ukraine. He works for Israel, but they won't say that because they also work for Israel. You know what I'm saying? Chuck Schumer's in Congress to work for Israel under his own words. Like I'm here to make sure the left stays pro-Israel. Why don't you make sure New York City's clean and safe? Don't you represent New York? New York has seen better days. There's a lot of Jews in New York too. Don't they want less crime? Of course they do. Everyone in that's what an American politician is supposed to do. Everyone's not supposed to agree on foreign policies. In New York, there's liberal Jews who don't like Israel. There's Zionist Jews who love Israel. That's America. We have different ethnicities, different groups, different religion, different foreign policies. But the one thing that Chuck Schumer and Kathy Hochul and Donald Trump and all these other freaks in Congress are supposed to do is make America great again. Keep America safe. You know what I'm saying? But they don't do that. On the left, they don't give a shit about the safety of people in Los Angeles or New York City. On the right, they don't care about the First Amendment. The only thing that they seem to agree on is Israel. And if they could all agree on Israel and make America amazing, nobody would care. That was literally what happened from World War II until now. Everybody didn't think about it or didn't want to talk about it because the country was good. And when things are good, people don't want to nitpick little things like, oh, you did this and that. No one cares because they're at Coachella or freaking Grateful Dead concerts or something. And it's like their kids can live in a safe society where they could go like get a, go play and not have to worry about stuff. But with now, it's like the country's falling apart. And it's like Alan Dershowitz versus Chuck Schumer, Donald Trump versus the Clintons, even though they're friends. It's all fake. And the one thing that most of Congress seems to care about is a foreign nation. And I'll say this about the GOP, and I don't actually think they care, but this is what I see happening. The Democratic Party doesn't want to cave on Israel, but like a majority of their base is completely off their reservation of like Zionism. So they're going to have to like either the Democrats are moving in that direction, which they are, or they have no base. With the Republican Party, there's a lot of boomers who still vote for them. But as time goes on, the America First crowd is going to get way bigger than the Israel First crowd. And when that happens, they're going to lose elections. So for the 2028 election, it's going to be, do they want to? And if they were reasonable and not completely controlled, they don't have to cave on every issue. Like, it's like you can do certain things with the ally you think is so great, but you can infringe on the First Amendment. But you got to get rid of the hate speech laws. But you got to stop gaslighting so much about every topic. You got to stop crying about anti-Semitism every 2 seconds. Like, people are allowed to disagree. If the GOP doesn't want to do that and they essentially want to wage a digital war on their own supporters, Democrats are going to win in 2028 by a long shot. So it's like the resistance to that in the GOP is way harder than it is on the left. And there's a I would say a myriad of reasons for that, but the main ones are donor money. If you're getting hundreds of millions of dollars from somebody who tells you to do things for Israel, you don't want to stop doing it, and you can't stop doing it. You are compromised by finances. You took the money, you took the deal. a lot of people are, I would say, they have an ethnic or religious bias towards it. So they're going to just do what they think is right for their ethnic group, their religion, their end times prophecy to some extent. And, those two things are like preventing the GOP from pivoting on that topic. But I see Mamdani's taking over the country, and I don't like or trust Mamdani. I think he's like probably a sociopath and a weirdo, but that's just the reality of like the psychology of it. He'll start winning more elections, and the Rubios and stuff like that, they're not popular outside of Florida. They're not popular outside of the Fox News crowd. Maybe they are more popular than other politicians, but I don't see that working in 2028. Think about how far the Overton window has gone from like, think about for those who have been here for a while, think about like 2017. Like a lot of things felt really edgy and scary and like, oh, I'm not a racist. And like that was like the vibe. Like feminists were crying. Like everyone's like, Trump's not a racist. Look, he's with Rosa Parks. Like that was like the whole dynamic to 2017 and 2018. And then think about where the Overton window is now. Think about where it's going to be in 2028. Like the GOP is cooked. They're absolutely cooked if they don't pivot a little bit, but maybe they don't care. Someone said, Mamdani has a different dialect for different audiences. Have you heard him? He's good at it. Yes, he's a very talented sociopath and actor. He's definitely talented, but he knows how to play the game better than a lot of the GOP people that are, they have in store. I don't see a Rubio or like a JD Vance at this point being able to beat him. JD Vance is cooked. I don't see him having a chance anymore. Like he kind of blew his cover. Like everyone knew who JD Vance was, but like like similar to Trump, he was like acting cool during the election. But this last 3 months, I think JD Vance completely blew his cover and is like not going to win the election personally. I think he had a chance, but he blew it. But also he like has to blow it. Certain people say like, oh, JD Vance should disagree with Trump. He's the vice president. Literally, he's mini me. He if he wants to disagree with Trump, he needs to retire and get out of like the White House. I'm not saying that to be mean, but it's like, oh, Caroline Leavitt should have a different opinion. No, she shouldn't. Her job is to just be a PR team for Trump. Same with JD Vance. So it's like, this is not an excuse for him, but it's like he can't be honest. Like if Trump is going to lie, he has to lie. And if he doesn't want to lie, he'll leave like Joe Kent. But JD Vance is fine with lying because he's done it for his entire political career. He knows how to just pretend to be somebody and change his name, and you know what I'm saying, and like pretend to be this, and he's a neocon. Now he's not a neocon, but he's a neocon again. He's a good actor, but not good enough. It didn't work. Over time, all actors will be revealed by their own phoniness. Someone said the truth isn't always what you want it to be. I think that's absolutely a true statement. Has Trump really given men blanks? I don't know. I don't do gossip like that. Someone said, I feel like they're using reverse psychology all over the place and it's chaotic. Yeah, but if you know what they're doing, it's calm because, we have to not get stressed out. We have to not fear, and we have to not, like they want to scramble you. Don't let them. It's really not that what they're doing is chaotic. But when you realize the script, it's like watching the WWE and just turning off the television. It's like it's really predictable at this point. It's really stale. It's really not tricky. Like JD Vance last year was like tricky. This year he's not even tricky anymore. He's just like a cornball. So, I get that he has no choice, but I don't, people who make tough decisions are more impressive than people who just flop to whatever they have to do to save face in politics. Like I trust Joe Kent more than I trust JD Vance. It doesn't mean I'm like best friends with Joe Kent, but he has shown that he's willing to give up political power in order to make a statement that he agrees with. Like and anything could be a psyop. I'm not saying it's not, but it's like if you listen to him talk, a lot of what he's saying is things that I already knew were true. It's not like he's telling me this, and he's saying things that people who pay attention know, and that shows character to me. Where it's like, listen, I I don't want to lie about this, and I don't want to be a part of this administration if I don't agree with the trajectory of it. To me, that like time tells all, and that's wildly more impressive than like Tulsi Gabbard or something. Like Tulsi to me is just like nothing now. It's like, you'll Tulsi will get praised at Mar-a-Lago. When she's around neocons and Zionists, they'll say, Tulsi, you're such a good girl. But amongst people that Tulsi probably wants to be respected by, she has no respect left. So it's like, you trade your soul, you trade your reputation for a few shekels, a few petrodollars, and some donor meetings and stuff. And Tulsi chose that route. I'm sure she doesn't agree with a lot, but she's attached to it now. She's part of that administration. She makes generic statements all the time now, like she's a robot. And is it worth it? I don't know. Like, I don't know who Tulsi really is. I don't know what she wants, but I've lost like almost all respect for her. I think she's a cornball now, but I'm sure Mira Matelson likes her. So if that's what she wants, then who knows what people seek in this world or what they're after, But I will say, and I think like everybody knows this to some extent, that money and worldly power, and like especially in Washington, like I think people in Washington are even worse than people in LA, which is like hard to. There's a lot of good people in both cities. Not really Washington, but there's some good people in Washington. But LA, like it's a huge city. So there's a lot of great people. There's a lot of like cornballs. But like Washington has like the worst people. So it's like if you're trying to impress the worst people and the fakest people, is that really fulfilling? And same with even in Hollywood. Like, what are you willing to give up in order to get something? Like, are you conservative, but you'll go on TV and push liberal propaganda that you literally don't believe just to get a gig? It's like, how does that not haunt you? I don't get it. I don't know, but everyone's different, and I don't know what they're doing or what they think they're doing or what they want to do. But to me, giving up what you believe in order to get money or power is like soul sucking. The classic OJ song, For the Love of Money. I love the OJs. Isn't that such a great song? Nice Julian Assange profile picture, by the way. Yeah. For the Love of Money is such a good song. That was actually Trump's Apprentice song. Banger. Fetterman and Fauci. Dude, Fetterman is like Israel lobby Zionist oaf. Like, they just put him on Fox News and he's like, I have the same opinion as Lindsey Graham. And they're like, oh my gosh, Fetterman's real. It's like he's got some good domestic policy, but he's literally just an Israel lobby plant. Like, yeah, he agrees with Fox News. Wow, that's so cool. Like, he's like, I think Israel's the greatest country in the world. It's like, cool, bro. Is I became similar to Locaine? I don't know. I've thoughts on Rogan's big pharma psychedelics. I think the younger me would have thought that that's really cool because I think I don't want to get too much into it, but I've done psychedelics in my life, and I think that I could see that there's positive benefits, but also I think that like doing it too much probably is not good. So I think like the 19-year-old me would have thought that this like executive order was really cool, but the older me is like, you're passing a EO for psychedelics, but you won't even get the glyphosate out of my food. Like, I'd rather like there be no pesticide poison in my food than like Joe Rogan psychedelics being legal. But I don't know. I'm kind of indifferent about it. It's like I'm not against it, but I'm not like celebrating it. Like I don't care. I don't think it's that like I don't know. It's like getting one semi maybe good thing and like having 30 terrible things for us. It just doesn't impress me anymore. Someone said Trump, Elon, Bezos, Gates, and the others are having a trolling competition against each other for the good of mankind, noticing more and more. They're definitely competing, but I don't know what they're doing. It's supposed to help addicts get off drugs. I think big pharma is corrupt, and I do think that there are probably some natural things that are better than like pharmaceuticals. So I would say I lean towards thinking this is like a good thing, but I don't, I didn't read the executive order, so I don't know. Like, for example, like marijuana, right? When I was younger, I would have been like, wow, that's so cool. It's getting legalized. Like that, I liked it. So I thought I wanted everyone to like, it was cool to me. But then when they legalized it, it's not like they just, in this country, just like let people grow it. And it's like, yeah, let's get organic, holistic marijuanas. Like that's not what happened at all. In California, it's like they started giving out permits and only certain companies could get them. And then they're spraying it with pesticides. So it's like, I don't know if it got better or worse, but there's an argument to be made that it got worse. Even though they legalized it, they did it in an inorganic way that allowed for spraying and that allowed for certain people to get a leg up on the industry. So I haven't read the psychedelics executive order, but like, what's it doing? Who gets to control like the psychedelic industry? Are certain people going to get permits? Are they going to have the best, healthiest psychedelics, or are they going to taint them? I don't know, but these are quite, if I cared, this is what I would be looking into, because when they legalized marijuana, it was not like you would think it would be. And I think it's led to a lot of corruption and a lot of, to be honest, just bad products, like not ideal product. They did I think it was LA Times. LA Times did a study of like pesticides in marijuana, and some of the most popular brands were just chock filled with like chemicals and pesticides or something. So I forget the exact, you could look it up if you want, but it's like, wow, it's legalized. Like, I don't know. Like probably before it was, your average grower wasn't destroying their product that were bad. Yeah, there's a lot that goes into the legalization of drugs, unfortunately. But we'll see. They regulated it and crossbreeding it for profit. There's a lot of suspect activities going on. But yeah, like I've done things, but at this point in my life, I'm trying to like, I'm not doing anything. I don't know. I'm not doing psychedelics. I don't smoke marijuana. I'm just trying to live a pure life. I'm over it. You will eat bugs. I want to eat the bugs and I want to love it. No, I'm just kidding. But someone said MDMA has cumulative side effects. I'm sure everything has side effects, and everyone can't handle everything. I'm sure certain people have done certain psychedelics and they're like, it changed my life for the better. And then I'm sure certain people did it and like couldn't handle it, like that's the reality of everything in this life. Some people can drink coffee a lot, some people can't. Some people get addicted to nicotine. So, it's like, I think we all have to just be honest that like nothing's a one size fits all, except for like water probably is like good for everybody. Someone said glyphosate makes you trip. I don't know that that's true, but I can't tell if you're being like funny or not, but I'm not laughing. I saw Kash Patel on Maria Bartiromo's show, and I was like laughing at it because I do my Maria Bartiromo impression. She reminds me of a bird. She's like, "What, Cash? Tell me about your new lawsuit." And he's like, "Well, I'm suing the Atlantic because they say that I'm getting wasted and not showing up to work. But how is that true? Because we've stopped so many criminals." And I'm like, "Okay, that's interesting." I just thought that was like a funny clip, but he's suing them because they said he gets wasted and like doesn't show up to work. And he says that that's not true. So the FBI director is suing a media company. And I like, do they get discovery? Are they like, "Cash, can I see how many bottles of beer you drank?" And he's like, "No." like what is going on? Oh no. Anomaly, can you reach out to Aya for a song collab? Maybe. I don't really reach out to people for collabs anymore, but maybe. I don't know. Probably not. I probably won't. It's not that I like dislike her or anything, but I just think like I don't care that much. Like, I don't know. She could hit, is it a she? She could hit me up if she wants, and then I would probably do it if the song were good. Let's see. Monaco is set to get to be a destination. What is that? What do you mean? We need Bill Barr. Trust Bill Barr. Trust Patriots. Trust the plan, okay? Bill Barr really handsome man. Wait, no, he's fat and ugly now because I don't like him anymore, but I used to like him, but I don't. He will stop Jeffrey Epstein, even though his father mysteriously worked with Jeffrey Epstein. And there's something called an Epstein-Barr virus. Okay, look it up. That's true. But he's gonna get Epstein, okay, even though he didn't do anything, okay. And we put him in a prison, but the guards just fell asleep and the cameras didn't work because at a high level security prison for Epstein, we just have like really bad cameras. And even though your ring camera always works, okay, the cameras in the really expensive facility that we kept Jeffrey Epstein in didn't work, okay. It makes sense, okay, because a ring camera is better than our cameras, okay. Maybe we should get a ring camera. Oh, a ring. It reminds me of the ring I bought Melania. It was so big, it was so beautiful. It was the biggest, most beautiful ring, like a ring camera. Wow. Every time I think of ring cameras, I think of myself. Isn't that crazy, okay? I mean, Tim Cook, he stepped down. And I think of myself. I said, ooh, Tim, remember when you kissed my ass? Oh, wow. This reminds me of how great I am when you step down. Did I mention I think about myself all the time and think about how great I am? Because I think the ark that Noah built, it was pretty cool, okay, but it wasn't as big as the one I would have built with Palantir, okay. I would have gotten rid of mosquitoes. I'm just saying I didn't want them here. So bringing two mosquitoes on an ark, it's kind of disgusting, okay. I would have killed them with Palantir. I would have drone struck them, okay. So I'm just saying Noah was cool, but he's a little lacking, if you understand what I'm saying here. But trust the message boards, okay? Durham is a good guy. He might not exist. No one's ever seen a video of him, and there's one Photoshop picture, stock footage of him. But okay, Durham is going to really, just ignore the lockdowns and the vaccine communism because this is all a trick to get you to look there. And then we're going to get Ellen DeGeneres and Rosie O'Donnell. Okay, we're going to get Rosie as soon as the lockdown happens. So look here. And then Durham's going to he's gonna go get Chrissy Teigen, okay, and John Legend. John Legend's he's a little man, he's a little guy. He's got a good voice, but a bad voice, okay. When he loves Trump, he's got a good voice, but when he hates Trump, his voice is disgusting. Okay, I'd rather listen to Maria Bartiromo sing ABC by Jackson 5 than ever listen to that little man, okay. And he happens to be black. I'm just saying it. I'm not a racist. I've just noticed he's not white, he's black, okay. That's just a fact. I went into Sherman Williams and I saw the black and I said, wow, that looks like John Legend's skin. I'm just saying it's a very similar color, okay? So, anyway. Someone said, I absolutely love the red and white ball gown dress you just got a notification about. What does that mean? Someone said, you can Noah run, but you can't Noah hide. I love the Noah hide laws, okay? Ben Shapiro says he needs Goyim, the Goy, to follow the Noah hide laws, okay? It's okay, Goy. You're good, Goy. Just follow the Noah hide laws. You'll be fine, okay? Just follow them. That's what you do now. It's Judeo-Christian, okay? We used to have a Christian country, but then we put Judeo in front of it, and then all of things that are not Christian are now in our country, okay? And there's really big pride parades in Tel Aviv, okay? Lindsay, tell them about it. Oh, yeah, I just saw on the website, I just saw Israel post that we have the biggest pride parades in the Middle East. I mean, oh, wow. We really need to beat up Iran to make them gayer. Isn't that what you guys want, conservatives, to spread sodomy to Iran so they stop telling women to act like women? They need to be gay, like in Tel Aviv. It's like, what? That's what we need to do? Okay. You guys say so, but I don't want to join the military. But Palantir said to join the military. Okay, we should have a draft. That's what Palantir said. They're completely unbiased. Alex Karp didn't even like me before the election till he donated to me. And, they're making a bunch of money on contracts. So why don't you just get a draft, okay? You like draft beer. Do you like getting drafted to the military? It's like, no, bro. No, thank you. But Noah Hyde guillotine's coming? Hopefully not. Hopefully not. Richard Branson was doing Epstein stuff too, someone said. I think he was in the files, possibly. I don't know. Was Richard Branson in the Epstein files. Yes, he was. But everybody rich knew Epstein. They just don't want to say what he was doing because then it like blows the whole cover. Eric Swalwell was a crash test dummy. Oh yeah, hot take on that. Eric Swalwell, first of all, I've only said this about a few people. Cat Turd, Steve will do it. Eric Swalwell is one of these people. Think about it. What do Cat Turd, Steve will do it, and Eric Swalwell have in common? Not very many things. They're very different politically. They all look like people that would shit their pants and then just like walk around in the poop, in my opinion. Like Eric Swalwell, his face always looks like he just pooped his pants. And he's just like, and they're like, ew, why does it smell so much here, Eric? He's like, I don't know. Like he's got that face that just looks like he craps his pants and just sits in Congress in it. So I've never been a fan of Eric Swalwell for that very petty reason. With that being said, the Fang Fang wasn't a good moment for Eric either. That's not a good one. But I think he's getting framed. I mean, I think he's married, so I think he probably, allegedly, possibly could have cheated on his wife. But I don't want to get like sued or anything. But I definitely think he messed up and did the wrong thing. But the like extreme allegations, I don't know. It's like I think he's kind of getting like set up and sacrificed so they could put like the billionaire guy in or something. Or I think if two Republicans would have won and got the most votes, then there would have been no Democrat in the race. Like they had to get rid of Eric. So I think Fartwell, people are saying Eric Fartwell because he farted on CNN once. See, I said he looks like he poops his pants before I even knew he farted on CNN. So I just know these things. I don't know why. It's just like some people look a certain way, and like not everyone is who they look like, but some people just are who they look like. So, physiognomy or whatever is kind of somewhat real. And with Fartwell, I could just tell. But someone said he really does have that kind of face. I've been saying it for a long time now. Thank you, Namakula. I'm glad we're on the same page. It's taxing for me to be this right all the time because I'm out here looking like the meme of the guy. Like I'm like Eric Swalwell poops his pants, and everyone's like, dude, relax. Like you're acting weird. We're talking about the war in Iran, and you're talking about Eric Swalwell farting in his pants. And I'm like, but I swear he farts. They're like, but what does that have to do with anything? And then 5 years later, like QAnon, it comes, it circles back, and then everybody is finally on the same page as me. But where were we before that? Oh yeah, I don't personally believe the extreme allegations against Eric Swalwell. They seem a little sus and like not true. But I do think he messed up. But I don't know. He's getting sacrificed. And I think Swalwell had an Israel flag and a Ukraine flag on his office. Like it was like Swalwell, Ukraine, Israel. It's like, bro, the founding fathers would be so annoyed. Like you work for America. There should be no foreign flags on your office. If you want to wave a foreign flag, get out of Congress. You know what I'm saying? Like say you're Italian and you really love Italy and you like flying Italian flags. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you care that much about Italy, don't serve in the United States Congress. Just be, you know what I'm saying? Just cook Italian food and like be the homie. Like you're not even Ukrainian, you're not even Israeli, but you have a Ukrainian and an Israel flag on your wall. This stuff is like it's so normalized in Washington. These people are so not normal. And I want everyone to know that their whole job is to convince you that they're just like you. And if you keep buying it, they're going to keep selling it. So it's like, I like Thomas Massey. I kind of sort of like Rand Paul sometimes. Everyone else sucks. I don't trust anybody. Like, like now Anna Paulina, who I've met, she's a very lovely lady, but she's like, let's give up our Fourth Amendment right in order to get voter ID. Yeah, let's not do that and say we did. Why are you, Andrew Colvert, and DC Drano all tweeting this like it's some sort of brilliant idea? Let's give up our first two amendments so Donald Trump can build a ballroom. It's like, no. Why don't they just pass voter ID? It's common sense. If they can't do it, I need to give up my rights. That would be like, yeah, let's give up 80% of our taxes to get voter ID. Let's pay 80% taxes this year. Why do we have to do that? Why do we have to take a sacrifice and give up our rights and our freedoms, as Trump says, in order to get some voter ID law passed? And I'm going to be the only one who tells you this because everybody seems to lie about it. The 2020 election was sus because everybody was locked in their house and they had nothing to do. That's why that was such a sus election. Trump just won the election without a voter ID law. I mean, there's some states that have it, but Trump just won the House. He just won the presidency. He just won the Senate, and he somehow just won the popular vote, literally without a voter ID law, literally just like a year and a half ago. So is it important to get voter ID? I think so. Should it be done? Yes. But did it stop him from winning last time? No. So it's really not as important as they're saying. Let's give up our Fourth Amendment so we can get voter ID. He just won the election without it. How about we don't give up our Fourth Amendment and you just pass it? And stop running this weird psyop with DC Drano and freaking Andrew Colbert or something. Like, oh, yeah, let's give up our freedoms for voter ID. Like, ugh. I'm going to throw a fit. No, I'm just kidding. I'm going to cry on stream. I'm just kidding. I'm not going to cry. Voter ID is a step towards internet ID. Guys, they already have all your stuff. Voter ID makes sense. If you're going to go vote, they already have your name on a piece of paper. You should at least show an ID that it's you. It's not, it's like they have all of our stuff already. They don't need voter ID in order to get a database set up. They already have a database. So voter ID is not like, I don't think it's like a pathway towards that. I think they already have that pathway, you know? But at the same time, I'm at the point now, like outside of like a Thomas Massey, I don't feel like ever voting again. So if like the GOP keeps clowning around, I'll just unregister and I'll never vote. So they can't have any of my stuff anyway. But they already like, they know everything. You know what I'm saying? They scrape all your data. They advertise to you. They know everything. Go full Erica Kirk. I don't want to go Erica Kirk, but I just saw going viral again was like a video of her like a couple days or a week. I don't remember how long, maybe 2 weeks, but it was like right after Charlie died and she was on like a Zoom call with TPUSA. And, you know, I understand that everyone grieves in their own way. And I understand that she's a boss babe and she's now the CEO. But like watching that video of her like smiling, it's just like nightmare fuel. It's just like she's like her like big goofy smile. Listen, I have a goofy smile too. You should never make fun of someone's smile, but it's just like like watching her just like smile so big on a Zoom call like right after Charlie died, like with the TPSA, like in the following weeks. It's just like, you know, I think some people are doing too much with Erica, but like I don't know. She's so sus to me. And like, everyone's like, why are you talking? She's the CEO of Turning Point. She took over the company and went on a Zoom call, like literally like after he died and like, is like smiling with her big teeth out. Like, it's like, you know, okay. Like I have to agree with that. She's going to play that card for her whole career. She could just like run Turning Point into the ground and be like, can't say anything. Okay. I guess not, but I don't know. In Spain, they want to introduce ID to control the internet I heard they're doing like in Europe, like they don't want young people on the internet. Spain versus America is like the perfect analogy of Democrats versus Republicans is the same analogy as everything. Like it's like either you get Zionist Donald Trump, who completely sucks, or you get Spain, who stands up to Trump and Netanyahu, but at the same time is just greenlighting a bunch of migrants into Spain. It's like that's the Democratic Party. Do you want open border Kamala or do you want Mark Levin? Like, I don't want either. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want people to wake up so there's a better option. But it's like Europe, it's either they're like super Zionist or they're super gay or they're super both, or they're like, we're going to stand up to Israel by opening our borders and letting in a bunch of migrants. Okay. That can't be. Do you have to do that? Can there possibly be a leader who's not retarded who like doesn't agree with Israel? Or no, everyone has to be retarded. Like it's so the state of things is so fake and so gay that how does everyone not see it at this point, you know? So it's like I don't even like celebrating any country. It's like, wow, Spain stood up to Trump. Who cares? They're gonna cave on something stupid a week later. My hair keeps falling. Whatever. Last election, you guys didn't have a chance. There was only one nominee. I mean, pretty much, I mean, I think the left would have kept the border open. The question is, would they have policed anti-Semitism as hard, and would they have started these wars? I feel like it's a 50-50 chance. Like, I don't think like for sure Kamala would have started the war in Iran, but I don't think for sure she wouldn't have. And like Trump is going psycho policing on the anti-Semitism stuff. I don't know if they would have went that far, but also they definitely could have. I don't know. You either get Chuck Schumer or Mark Levin at the end of the day, for sure. Chuck Schumer's like, I'm a human. I'm just like you. Look at me, put cheese on my my hamburger. It's melting like humans do when they watch football. You don't put the cheese on before it cooks, because then it's gonna melt completely, and you can't flip it. Like, you definitely, like, the fact that he did that is so weird. That picture of him with like the cheese on an uncooked burger, that's such a failed photo op. Like, even if you're completely detached from reality, like, okay, you're rich, you haven't cooked your own burger in 30 years, you don't have cookouts like with your family, whatever. You didn't know that? You didn't like, I'm not the greatest chef in the world, but I knew that, obviously, like, I would never put a piece of cheese on a burger before it's cooked. Like, that's some like robot fraudulent stuff. But that's just what he does. I guess that, he's just that guy, I guess. Could we get some new music? I'm an old fan. Yeah, I've been busy recently, but I'm definitely trying to get a new song. I dropped a song a couple weeks ago, so I have a new song out there, but it's not a gimmicky song, and it doesn't really have like there's so much music nowadays. In order to compete, like, you need to really do something that like people want to share and post on Instagram. So it's not one of those type of songs, but it's a great song. Check it out. It's called Old Soul in 2026. But yeah, I am working on a new song. It'll take a minute though. Someone said, in fact, Jimmy Dore posted a video about it a few days ago. About what? Kamala already said she had to stop Iran. Yeah, she said that she was going to go after Iran as well. So I'm sure they would have. Muppets versus puppets. That's a good one. There's definitely Muppets on one side, puppets on the other side, but the puppets are also Muppets as well. And the puppets are Muppets, and the Muppets are puppets. So at the end of the show, you're like, it's all one. Someone said we must protect our kids by using them to enroll the digital ID slave system. I mean, they already have everyone's info, so I don't know like what, I don't know how IDing everyone is gonna like further push it, but I just feel like they like with AI nowadays, guys, they have everything. Like, they can use AI and organize everything that they already have. So be on the lookout to sneaky systems, but I just don't believe that they need to do that in order to get that. What happened to the God is Great hats? I still have them in stock. I have God is Great hats, God bless hats. I got beanies, I got regular hats. I don't know. I guess I just don't like promote that much, but dreamrare.com, you could check out the shop. I have some t-shirts too that have like cool designs, but I don't know. I don't feel like overselling, but I really should like do it soon. And I don't know. Dreamrare.com, check them out. Is the ballroom finished yet? I don't think it's finished, but here's something like this is what that's a great comment, but sorry, I'm like spurging out here, but I like doing my show when I have something unique to offer. Like, if everyone's saying the same exact thing, it's like, why do I need to say it then? Yeah, people like it, but what's the point? Like, I like to add value to the conversation, and it excites me when like no one's saying something so obvious, because everybody's like NPC retards that just like repeat each other, and they have no soul or like comprehension skills or brain. But with the ballroom, that is now doubling as like a military base because it's like drone proof and stuff. It's like a high level room that protects from attacks. It shouldn't be funded by donors. And Trump is trying to pitch it to people, and they think I'm just hating or something when they're like, oh, you don't want other people to pay for it? You want taxpayers to pay for it? Miriam Adelson, crypto bros, and Lockheed Martin and corporations and random billionaires who like to compromise politicians should not be paying for a military-based ballroom. No, that should be taxpayer money. Like someone even said, like, Trump said he's going to build some cool statue and he hasn't built it. Like, we should start funding it, or some donor should fund it. And I'm like, no, we have money. Our money should rebuild our airports, rebuild parks, build cool statues. It's okay to it's okay to spend taxpayer money for that. That's what it's for. It's not for foreign nations. It's not for Israel. It's not for Ukraine. It's not for Jordan. Like, our money goes all over the world. And then when it comes to build something in America, they act like, oh, we don't have the taxpayer money, or let's get donors to build it. No, use American taxpayers to make America better. That's what taxes are for. That's the whole reason we're supposed to pay taxes. And this idea, like, Trump is framing it like, oh, the left doesn't want them to build it because they don't want the donors paying for it. I don't want the donors paying for it because they're compromising politicians through bribes. Like, especially if it's a military ballroom. If it's a regular ballroom, I don't want Miriam Adelson and freaking Lockheed Martin and a bunch of other crypto bros to be building a White House building that now they have access to because they're like, well, we built it. You got to invite us every year. Now they're compromising our country that's supposed to be sacred for politicians and our nation. It shouldn't be something that they have leverage over. But especially if it's a military ballroom, it should come out of the military budget, which is in the billions and trillions of over the years. So it's like, Trump is so corrupt. Trump is such a sellout. He's such a scammer. It's hard to even keep up because most influencers are retarded. They don't analyze anything properly. And pretty much I've seen nobody say what I just said. Like, nobody's even talking about it. But Trump is having donors pay for a military ballroom. It's super messed up. And now they're going to probably have access to it because they're paying for it. So it's like Trump is a huge sellout. I think his first term, he sold out a little bit, and then he sold out a lot of it towards the end. And then he saw Biden was selling out. And then Trump just he stopped trying to fight DC, and he just became a part of it. Like, he's not trying to drain the swamp. He is the swamp. He defends the swamp. He endorses the swamp. He wants to kick out Marjorie Taylor Greene and Thomas Massie, who are against the swamp. Trump is a Zionist. He is a deep state. He is a neocon. He is a swamp rat. He is a sellout. He is a scammer. And now he's the king of the sellouts and the snakes and the scammers. And he wants to just do as much scamming as he possibly can before he gets out of the White House. Like, I get why Tucker feels a certain way because, even on my worst day, I knew Trump was going to suck. But it's like, I really never thought he was going to be this bad because it's like he's so bad. Like, certain people look at Trump and they're like, he's the greatest president ever. I think there's a better argument that Trump is the worst president ever than that he's the best president ever. Like, I think Biden's a horrible president. I'm sure there were bad presidents that I can't even comprehend from the 1800s and 1900s. But you think Trump is one of the best presidents ever? I think he's one of the worst. I think he's one of the most sold out. What his sons are doing, what Jared Kushner's doing, what he's doing with crypto, getting his donors who care about Israel to pay for the ballroom. Like, Trump is literally selling out the United States of America. Like, we're a conquered colony to Israel, and Trump is trying to compromise us as much as possible to make it as hard as he possibly can for the next president to come in and fix all of the selling out that he did. Not that they're even going to try if it's like a Biden, because they're in on it too. But it's hard for a conservative to comprehend that Trump might be more corrupt than Joe Biden. He's definitely either exactly the same or slightly better at best. But I think there's a better argument to be made that he's worse when it comes to selling out. Like, Hunter Biden's doing this with Burisma. 100%. That's horrible. Have you counted how many things Trump's doing, and to the tune of even more money than Hunter Biden was doing? And he's completely shameless about it because he's just attack everybody. It's the fake news. It's Tucker. It's Candace. It's Sean Ryan. It's like it's crazy. It's really an underground bunker. That's what I'm saying. It should be funded by the taxpayer. If he's getting a bunch of donors to fund an underground bunker, then they're going to have access to it. What kind of diet am I on? Why? Do I look good or do I look like shit? Or are you trying to sell me some are you trying to sell me something? I'm on a cucumber diet. I just eat cucumbers all the time. I'm starving. No, I'm just kidding. I've been eating slightly healthier and working out more, but I don't know if it shows or not. I can't tell if this is a complimentary or you look fat. Someone said up to 2029 was epic. Yeah, no, 2016 to 2029 was pretty sweet. 2020 was one of the worst years any president's had on record, and so far it's been terrible. So it's like I said this analogy a lot. I was like 3 years of like amazing. It would be like a Super Bowl where it's like, dude, he threw 5 touchdowns in the first 3 quarters, but then he threw like 40 interceptions. It's like, well, you lost the game, you know? So to me, Trump's 3 good years were unraveled by his 4th year, the first term. So I consider his first term one of the worst presidencies ever. I think Joe Biden, with the lockdowns and mandates, one of the worst presidents, if not the worst president of all time. And now Trump is top 3 worst presidents I've ever seen in my life. So, but this is the problem, though. You know, this is the issue. Is like people are like, "Why are you such a doomer?" I'm not a doomer. I make the most of my life, but this is just what it is. So, like, if enough people figure it out, then we can, switch it. But if you're like left, right, and there's no like analysis there, then we're just gonna keep going back. I feel like it's so easy though. Like it's not that hard of a problem to solve because we have numbers. You know what I'm saying? Like, yes, they have money, but for example, like if you have a bunch of people that won't buy into the propaganda, I'll give you an example. And I hate to make this the example, but I'm just thinking of it right now. And I think it's the easiest to prove. Israel, right? I don't know how much Israel has spent on PR. I know how many media companies and people that are favorable to Israel, like in the mainstream press. And if you added up all of the Zionist media companies that are very pro-Israel, they have billions upon billions of billions of dollars of infrastructure and equity. All like, they have billions of dollars in property, media companies, and probably money that they're spending. Yet most of the world is not on the same page as Israel. So that just shows you that at a certain point, money can't switch. Like propaganda works sometimes, but in the age of the internet, like some kid with a cell phone can get more views than somebody with $1 billion budget. That's just the reality of it. Like you can go viral on TikTok with an iPhone 15, if that's even an iPhone. I don't know. What are they up to now? I'm not counting, but you can go viral with an iPhone, and someone can make a $20 million propaganda video and nobody will care. Like how much money has like the Blue Square, like Robert Kraft, like Stop Anti-Semitism campaign spent? They probably spent millions. But it's like they're trying to chase the tail of Black Lives Matter with the Black Square, but even Black Lives Matter isn't like cool anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like Black Lives Matter has came and went as a political movement and it's not effective anymore. Like the Black activism needs to find like a new angle because like BLM kind of got like used up and spit out in the press just based off of like what the organization was doing, etc. So it's like they're spending all this money trying to be BLM for Jews with a blue square. Like it's not catching on. No one cares about the blue square. I say all that to say this, that money isn't working anymore. Like money in politics works because they buy both sides. But as soon as people start supporting candidates who can't be bought, that's when the money starts failing. But they've successfully bought like everyone except for like 5 or 6 people. So you just have to be honest about it. And then like if a Thomas Massey runs, I try to support him because he's not been purchased to that amount. Marjorie Taylor Greene. Like it's easy, but it's harder than media because they know the Washington system. Like they've figured out the way to compromise everybody. But if everyone realizes and supports candidates, it's possible. Someone said, "Are you keeping up with Elizabeth Lane's coverage of the Charlie Kirk case? You should have her on sometime. You'd make a solid duo." I am not familiar with what she's doing, but I'll try to check it out. Thank you for the super chat. I think I've seen her name on X, but I've never seen her videos. Someone said BLM was a cover up for Bureau of Land Management, Clinton Ukraine deals. Are you saying like the BLM acronym like covers up the Bureau of Land Management? I mean, that's definitely interesting. And I don't know if that's true. I'm not saying you're wrong, but what I am saying is I know that they do understand how press cycles work and say there's a keyword that everyone's going to search, they like to run stories with that same keyword that like takes away from that. So it would not be out of the realm of possibility, you know, like having an acronym take away from other news. But I've never heard that. Don't know if it's true, but I do think that that is a strategy that certain people use for PR. Someone said ballroom dance, ballroom dance. Yeah, that's creepy. Uranium. Got you. Someone said, I don't trust Trump, Tulsi, or Thomas. I think that's valid. I understand why. It's like I trust Thomas Massey as much as I need to trust him. But yeah, he's done some things that I wouldn't do, and that I like taking angles I wouldn't take. But I just think he's one of the best people in Congress. So I think he's a step in the right direction at bare minimum, you know. But I don't think anyone needs to trust any of these people. Do I trust myself? Yeah, I mean, I definitely do. I trust God, but I do trust myself. I mean, obviously, there's always room for improvement, but I've worked hard. I try to be honest. You know, I do my best. So yeah, I would say yes. It's an interesting question though, because it's like, sometimes in life you're like messing up and you need to trust God, obviously over yourself, but I would say I trust myself overall. Someone said Artemis 2 equals dumbass 2. There will be no moon landing disrespect, okay? When I saw the iPhone footage of the moon, I was like, wow. In my head, like Proud to Be an American started playing. Like I was watching that and it was like, I'm proud to be an American, where at least we have anti-Semitism laws for Israel. And I can't say Alan Dershowitz has dual loyalty, even though he said so himself. And Miriam's in Israel talking about how Trump's gonna run a third term and she'll dump $250 million in him because we went to the freaking moon. Dude, I love that song. I love Proud to Be an American. I'm so proud to live in the United States of Israel and be a golden goy. It's the proudest moment of my life. Someone said Elizabeth Lane is feeding Candace Owens. Are we talking about like food or are we talking about information? I'm just picturing some girl named Elizabeth like feeding Candace Owens. She spoke with Tyler Robinson's grandparents who think Tyler was framed. It's interesting. I mean, I'm not an investigator in the Charlie Kirk case, but I do think it's interesting that her and Candace are doing all that stuff, but I'm not like inspired to try to be like the top sleuth in that case, but I think Americans have a right to do that. But yeah, I don't know. It's not really my lane. I am paying attention to what Candace says about the case and like, trying to make sure it's all true and stuff. Like she was talking about how there was a court case or like a hearing recently, and Tyler, like, she said something about like the verification of the bullet. That was true. And I don't know. I'm definitely paying attention. Let's just put it that way. It's just I don't feel inspired or called to like be like I'm trying to think like who's the main. I can't think of like who's the really popular guy. Not Inspector Gadget, not Scooby Doo, although they're two legends. Sherlock Holmes. I don't feel inspired to be the Sherlock Holmes of this case, but I'm definitely keeping an eye on what people are saying. Did I cover the Florida student who got arrested and charged with terrorism for making a joke about Netanyahu? I didn't cover it, but I saw it and I didn't like. I have to like look into it more. I think I know what they texted and stuff, but what I will say, and I don't want to speak on that one because I don't know exactly what she said, and like I've only seen what people are saying she said, so I have to look into it. But what I will say to people is not to be paranoid. I'm not saying don't be paranoid and say what you truly think and have fun and live your life, but don't Fed talk. And I'm not saying she necessarily did because from what I've seen, I feel like they're reaching, but like some people like they don't understand the way the world works. Like they can they can charge you for saying stuff in apps and stuff, and it's like, once again, I think everybody has a right to privacy, and I'm not asking people to be paranoid, but don't talk like a Fed. Don't say crazy stuff that you don't mean. It's not like we're not living in 1994. You're not your drunk uncle at the 4th of July, like shit talking to your friend on Instagram, saying things that you could get charged for. I'm not justifying the charge because I think this one was insane, but just know that we're living in 1984 and they're looking for reasons to throw people in prison. So I don't know. Like, I think people don't understand that. And like certain people will say things that they don't mean in group chats and stuff and on WhatsApp. And they're like, oh, I was just kidding. And it's like, you don't want to, you got to just watch what you say and mean what you say. If you're on a phone, don't be a pussy and say something you don't mean, but like, don't talk like a Fed. If anybody ever talks to me and says some stuff that I distance myself, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not saying people are doing stuff or whatever, but it's just like, I just try to distance myself from things that I don't believe in, or people that like, everyone thinks that they're just like going to talk tough and this and that, but they don't really mean it. It's like, I don't do that. If I talk on the phone, I'm saying exactly what I say on my podcast. I'm not saying anything more. I don't believe anything more. I'm not like, it's not some like edgy thing because I don't get to say what I really like. I'm telling you what I think. I don't believe things that I don't say. I don't hold back what I actually think, and I don't trust or want to talk to or want to have any communication with anybody that's going to say fetty weird stuff and, like thinking it's like not, it's not, that's not the world we live in. So it's creepy. It's crazy. It's definitely like a total invasion of privacy, but that's just the reality. Someone said, so I wouldn't say to self-censor, but I would say don't say anything that could get you charged in the sense of like threats and stuff like that, and I'm not, I have to look into this chick's case because from what I saw, I think they were extraordinarily reaching, but some people do say crazy shit. And I'm just like, it's not to say like you can have crazy opinions, but you really can't like threaten people. So, I think people think they're talking to themselves about worldly people that they don't actually mean it. But I think, you can sit in prison for making a fake threat that you didn't mean in a group chat. So why even do it? Like, I don't know. It's like, it's just it's not a good idea in my opinion. But if you want to say whatever you want, that's fine. But for me, like, I say what I want. I don't have to censor myself, but I don't believe those things. So I don't say edgy things that I don't believe to be funny in a group chat. I say exactly what I mean, exactly what I believe. And if I'm persecuted for what I actually believe, then unfortunately so be it. But I don't want to be persecuted for something I don't believe because I thought I was like being a troll or something. I don't know, it is what it is, but just something to think about. All right, let me read the super chat. Someone said Elizabeth Lane tried to finance Tyler Robinson's lawyers, but it appears Tyler's defendants are total morons. Probably a state Utah inside job, weaponized Justice Department. She's trying to finance Tyler's lawyers. I don't know this chick, and I'm not saying anything, but like, you don't find that a little weird? Like, if you're trying to investigate the case, I get that. If you want to be a sleuth and try to find out what you think the government's hiding, I completely understand that. I think that's what like everyone on the internet does. But you're going to try to finance the defense of Tyler Robinson? You don't think that's a little strange? I don't know. Like, I think Tyler Colvert or Andrew Colvert is acting weird. I think Jack Pasabik's like tweets, like, I don't agree. Like, I think a lot of people are doing things that I don't agree with, but just because I don't agree with that, you would want to finance the defense of Tyler? Like, that's that's not crazy to you? Let me know what you think of the comment. Like, sleuthing, investigation, getting truth out there, all understandable, but trying to attach yourself to the court case via finances, that's insane to me. Like, I don't, that's not crazy to you? Like, I don't know. That's crazy. But if you don't think that's crazy, that's fine. Or if you do think it's crazy, but a good crazy, then that's also. Someone said she didn't make a reasonable threat. She made a joke involving. I like I said with that one, I need to look at exactly what she said. But from what I saw, she said, I think they're completely reaching. I mean, if what you're saying is true and what I think about that is true, I just like to be very careful when I'm speaking publicly, but if what we think is true about that, she should get off in court because I think they reached extraordinarily to pretend like she was threatening, which is crazy. And Florida is like little Israel at this point. I mean, they police speech for Israel. It's a creepy state in that category. But what I'm not, I wasn't trying to like say, like throw this chick under the bus or anything. But what I'm trying to say is like, just understand that that's the world we live in, not to censor yourself from a joke that's harmless, but there are people that say stupid shit that could be actually considered a threat, and they're gonna find that, or they could find it. So it's like, why even do that? I'm not saying she did that. I'm just saying, like, letting people know that that's like the world we live in. But at the same time, like, yeah, everyone shouldn't need to like live in fear and be a slave or anything, but it's just the reality. Someone said Matt Walsh has a video with the title, "If you aren't moved by this moment, you're dead inside," regarding the new moon mission. Like, I get that Matt believes in the moon mission, but he's like Glenn Beck boomering out about the moon. If you don't believe in this, you're not alive inside. Bro, are you alive inside? He talks like, I'm Matt Walsh, and here's what I think. I don't agree with foreign aid, but I don't want to talk about it too much because I work at a company that disagrees with me. It's like he talks so boring. I like Matt Walsh, and I'm just joking. He's a cool guy, but it's like, oh yeah, you're so alive, Matt Walsh. You're so alive because you believe in the moonlight. You're so alive, bro. Man. Getting excited. I feel my whole body just tingling looking at the picture of the moon. Whoa. Relax, dude. It's not that real. I mean, it is that real, and you're just totally a conspiracy theory. Anyway. Someone said the judge was acting like the arrest was reasonable in court. I will look into this one and I'll do a video about it because I know this is like an extreme escalation, but Florida creeps me out, dude. Like, you had the Miami police go to some lady's house because she was like tweeting about Palestine, and now you have this. Like, Florida is like little Israel at this point, and DeSantis is largely responsible for that, so he should absolutely not be trusted at all. And Trump's doing what he's doing on like a federal level. So that's why I talk about this stuff so much. It's so important. And like the fact that people are like, it's not that big of a deal. We're going to turn into a slave country for Israel, and they're going to start arresting people for speech. They're doing it already. So I think I've done the most to tell people that it's not, I don't hate another country. I just don't want to live in a slave country where I have to like suck off a foreign prime minister in order to like survive. Someone said NASA is a multi-billion-dollar money laundering industry that sells exploration but only produces CGI. Billions and billions for what? Tang and Velcro. I am Matt Walsh, and I condemn that. I condemn what you just said there. If you don't literally, if your whole body doesn't start tingling and you don't start jumping like this, like you're in Artemis yourself, going through the Van Allen radio belt or whatever, you're not alive inside like Matt Walsh is. You got to believe. You got to believe. CGI stands for cool, great, intelligent astronauts, all one word. So that's what CGI stands for. It's not fake. It's like cool, great inventors. They're inventing a new reality that you're just jealous that you didn't get to go to the moon. You're jealous of the black guy. So you're racist. You're racist. You're jealous. You're anti-Canadian, and you're a feminist hater because you're just jealous of the girl who looks like a barista that's really smart. So how dare you? How dare you question the moon landing? That's disrespectful to Matt Walsh. He's having a good day, and you're going to make his day a bad day. So leave Matt Walsh alone. He's trying his best to toe the line at Daily Wire so he doesn't have to get Candace Owens. Someone said Space Force was created. Now NASA can fail. Listen, Space Force is the greatest thing ever made. Donald Trump literally is Moses. No, I'm just kidding. But it's like Donald Trump, Operation Midnight Hammer, dude, I'm getting chills. I'm getting Matt Walsh level chills just thinking about all of the great things that Trump did for this country. Ready? Excuse me if I can't contain myself. Operation Warp Speed. Wow. Whoa. Who could have rushed vaccines that fast that were synthetic mRNA that were going to be mandated on people that were being protected by the PrEP Act and weren't even FDA authorized at the time? Wow. Wow, Operation Warp Speed. Incredible, incredible stuff. We got Operation Warp Speed. Whew. We got Operation Midnight Hammer. Are you kidding me? The plot of Top Gun 2? Are you kidding me right now? Bang, 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 bang. They don't have nukes. We completely took them out. It's fake news to say we didn't take them out, but we didn't take them out, and they have nukes, and we have to fight with Israel and start the war with Iran because they don't have nukes. So they did have nukes. They absolutely did have nukes, and it's fake news to say that they didn't have nukes because they did have nukes. That's why we had to attack, but it's also fake news to say that they did have nukes because Trump said that he took them out with Operation Midnight Hammer, one of the greatest operations in the world. Are you kidding me? This is like Tom Brady, Tom Brady, Randy Moss in their prime in New England, like Operation Warp Speed and Operation Midnight Hammer. Winning. Are you tired of winning yet? I'm tired. I'm literally going to. Sorry, I fell asleep. I literally got tired. I got exhausted from winning so much with Donald Trump. So we got Operation Warp Speed. We got Operation Midnight Hammer. Are you kidding me? We got Space Force. Are you freaking kidding me right now? Donald Trump built moon landing bases so we can beat up China and Iran and make the whole world gay and liberal and flood them with immigrants from space. Are you kidding me right now? Do I even have to make a 5 list? Because I don't want to, because I don't have 2 more left. But Operation Warp Speed, vaccine socialism, borderline communism, Space Force, and Operation Midnight Hammer. I am tired of winning. What else did he do? We're running out of operations here. I mean, let me see. We got a super chat. Someone said Space Force is needed to monitor high altitude pseudo satellites. Look them up. Listen, satellites are totally not on balloons. They're just up there in the gravity, lack of gravity or something like that. What else did Trump do? We got to make a top 5 of his literally greatest things that actually aren't that great. Operation Warp Speed, Operation Midnight. Oh, Operation Epic Fury. Are you kidding me right now? You did Operation Epic Fury? I'm such a wow. So Operation Midnight Hammer took out the nukes. There are no nukes, but we had to do Operation Midnight Fury because there are nukes and we have to take out the nukes that you already took out. It's fake news to say there aren't nukes, but it's also fake news to say there are nukes. That's Operation Midnight Fury. Don't be Tucker Carlson. Get excited. So that's 4. A. Barnes said, after you figure out what high altitude pseudo satellites are, then you can find out the real Mark Epstein at MIT and how he created an artificial ionosphere to hide telecommunications lies. I'll look into it. I don't know about all that, but I don't believe a lot of stuff they do up there. So I'm not disagreeing with you, but I don't have enough info to agree or disagree right now. So I'll just let it be. All right. So we got, oh my gosh, I almost got a cramp. Oh, the deep state almost took me out. Hold on. I got to stretch my leg out. Oh my gosh, that was scary. I almost cramped up. It was almost the left. The left almost gave me a cramp in my leg. Damn it, Chuck Schumer. You freaking, the deep state. I got to massage my leg before I'll end this live stream. If I get a cramp, I'm not going down like a sucker, dude. I'll end the live stream before you see me cramp up. All right, another $9 super chat. Well, technically $9.99. Fast communication is how the Rothschilds stay ahead of their game. King of Air is Prince of Air. Interesting. Okay. Thank you for the super chats. Someone said A. Barnes is sponsoring Anomaly stream. We appreciate A. Barnes. He's definitely laying the Operation Midnight Hammer down on the live stream. So thank you. You know, we got a bunch of cheap brokies here who just sit around mooching off the live stream, but we got A. Barnes bankrolling the whole thing. So thank you, A. Barnes. I'm just kidding about everyone else. It's fine. I'm just trying to be funny. All right. Operation Warp Speed, Operation Midnight Hammer, Operation Epic Fury, which is the opposite of what he said Operation Midnight Hammer did or whatever. Space Force. What's another thing that Trump did? I don't want to throw the platinum plan in there, but that would be a funny one. What else has Trump even really done? Name another thing that he did. Operation Bump Stock Ban. I mean, that was a thing, but he didn't call it that. We need We need one that Trump gave a nickname to. If it doesn't have an actual nickname, then we can't do it. Printing 7 trillion. No, we need like a Trump nickname one. Yes, that's terrible, but we'll get it. There's going to be some good people in here. Someone said, I love it. A Barnes, a true cowboy. See, A Barnes is starting to get hit on by women in this chat. That's what happens when you super chat. You know, you throw up a super chat about the Rothschilds, the women start liking it. So we'll throw up A Barnes again. You know what I'm saying? Give him some attention. Appreciate you. Venezuela. Yeah, but what was that called? It was like Operation Just Steal Maduro and Nike sweatpants or something. Operation Absolute Resolve. I don't even know. What was that one? Is that what the Venezuela one was called? Let me see. He's like Operation Crap My Pants. Oh, that was what it was called. Operation Absolute Resolve. He just stole Maduro. That one, like I don't want to say it was funny because it was super messed up, but it was kind of funny because it's just like he just stole Maduro. I don't know. It's crazy. But I'm glad he didn't kill him because, like, I don't know. The charges that they're charging him with are kind of made up, but whatever. Operation Gulf of America. No, we'll do Operation Absolute Resolve. So top 5 operations by Trump and funny nicknames. All right, let's keep it moving. I'm proud to be an American where Miriam Adelson bankrolls Trump. And every time we ask for Epstein, they try to give us moon stuff. And then they say aliens, but no one cares because they want to know about Epstein. But they keep thinking we're retarded, so they bring up aliens again. They're like, hey, kids, like, don't you care about aliens and psychedelics? It's like, we'd rather, like, not be run by people who literally hate us and want to flood our country with people that don't even want to be here. So that would be a better deal than the alien thing. It's like they think we're dumb. Like, aliens, we just printed $7 trillion, but it wasn't us. It was this green guy. He came in and Jerome Powell, I tried to stop him, but he's like, and he just printed money and gave it to a bunch of organizations that my family runs. Wow, crazy. Where did these aliens come from? I think they have, alien ships that are shaped like clouds. Wow. Whoa, let's get another alien here. Whoa, Area 51. Okay, not falling for it. Trump RX. Oh yeah, Trump Pharmacy, just what we needed. Operation Glyphosate Immunity. Such an L. But it's okay. As long as like RFK can make a few more like AI edits or something, he's like, look, I'm fighting Mario in Super Smash Bros, but Mario's a donut. It's like, all right, that's cool. It's very cool, actually. But we don't want to eat poison, RFK. And we know you don't either. We know you're a healthy, strong guy who's very picky. You're a very picky eater, RFK. We know that, okay? Okay, RFK. Little too picky, okay? I gave him a cheeseburger. He said, Donald, I don't know how you do it, but I told him it's because I have the best genetics, okay? I'll live forever and eat McDonald's. It's okay. But he doesn't, and that's okay. But it's not okay, okay? What? Someone said, LOL, you are my fave. Thank you, Pom Pom Mom. I'm glad you have the best taste, obviously, unbiasedly. It's good to know that you like the best people. That's me, okay? There's very good people. We'll rank them 10 through 1, okay? Number 10 is Mike Tyson, okay? Very strong guy, black guy, strong guy. I'm just saying he's black, but he's strong. He's a black, strong guy, strong black, okay? Mike Tyson because he likes me, okay? Number 9, greatest humans ever. Tim Cook, okay? Tim Cook is great because he kisses my ass, okay? He's better than Steve Jobs. I was going to put Jesus on this list, but he never kissed my ass, okay? And I never met him, so I don't know. So he's not on my list. Number 7 is Howard Lutnick, okay? He's a great guy. He's a smart guy. He's a really great smart guy. Number 6 is Bill Gates. Brilliant man. We're working together on vaccines, okay? Number 5 would be Michael Jordan. He's cool.
Number 4, Tiger Woods, big fan about, okay? He got arrested. He called me, okay? I said, I'll help you, okay? Number 4 through 2 don't matter. I'm number 1. Me, Donald Trump. I'm the best. Thank you.
Project Esther. Project Esther. Isn't that where like Israel paid influencers or something? Oh, it's by the Heritage Foundation, designed as a national strategy to combat anti-Semitism. Very nice. Didn't they take money though to do that? It's not working. I mean, they're spending all this money, but I could save you guys like billions of dollars. Ready? When you define anti-Semitism with an international definition that was created in Europe in the 2010s that say you can't talk about dual loyalty, even though a lot of people have dual loyalty, you can't say people that own media companies, and you can't say George Soros and Miriam Adelson are bankrolling politicians, which they both are. You can't say that the people who killed Jesus killed Jesus. I'm not saying that it's like modern people, but historically in the Bible. And that's your definition of anti-Semitism, you're gonna start seeing anti-Semites everywhere, because literally more than half the world is anti-Semites according to the very broad definition. It would be like if I'm like a racist is someone who has white skin. A racist is someone who literally prefers their own race. A racist is someone who likes the food that their family cooked them, not other foods. A racist is somebody that believes in Jesus. Like, then it's like, wow, half the world is racist now. That's the definition of anti-Semitism. But also, they never will debate anything. It's just like everyone's an anti-Semite all the time. It's like, you want a politician to prioritize America over their donors? Wow, what got into you? Where did all this anti-Semitism get into you? It's like the shtick is just so old. It's so old and so stale. I saw this guy recently that I believe is, in my opinion, an American, and I might be wrong, but I've seen him a lot on Twitter. I believe he is an American Jewish person who is pro-Israel, but he's American. He noticed that Mike Huckabee doesn't even seem to work for America. Like, that's how bad Mike Huckabee is, that a pro-Israel Jewish American is like blown away by what a psycho that Mike Huckabee is. So this guy, he tweeted this, right? He might not be Jewish, but I think he is. But it doesn't matter. But I'm just trying to like point out the absurdity of like Mike Huckabee, who's not Jewish. This guy, Yashar Ali, said, "Why is Mike Huckabee, the sitting U.S. ambassador to Israel, involving himself in a dispute between Israel and Poland? This is outrageous. Huckabee is in Israel to represent the interests of the United States of America, not the state of Israel. Any issues or concerns that the U.S. may have with the response of Poland's foreign minister should be handled through appropriate diplomatic channels at the State Department level. A sitting U.S. ambassador publicly cheering one foreign minister's attack on another ally's foreign minister, particularly from a NATO ally, would be unacceptable in most administrations. Poland is one of the most strategically important NATO allies today." And he goes on to just be like, why is Mike Huckabee doing this? Nobody thinks Mike Huckabee works for America. Like, yes, he's supposed to represent America in Israel for America, but everybody thinks Mike Huckabee just works for Israel. And this just further proves it. His job is not to get involved with two allies and side with one ally over another. His job is to represent America in Israel in negotiations. But he doesn't do that. He basically just works for Israel. And everyone knows that. But it's so bad that even like people that are pro-Israel are noticing it. And maybe this guy's not pro-Israel. I don't know. But I've seen his tweets. He's not like a huge critic or like someone that I've known that like he's pretty basic. And he's like, what's going on with Mike Huckabee? It's like, yeah, exactly. What is going on? All right, we got a $20 super chat. A Barnes, I appreciate you, my friend. Thank you. He said the Genesis mission, a national initiative led by the Department of Energy to accelerate scientific discovery via AI, is currently in a critical funding and application phase as of April 2026. Okay. I haven't seen that, but I'm trying to read it. Department of Energy. I mean, that's interesting. I don't know. Like, AI is very useful, but I don't trust our government to use it properly. But I'm sure if they actually cared about the world, they would use it to advance science instead of like blowing up schools and stuff. But I don't, I don't know that they're going to do that. So hopefully they actually do something good with that, but they probably won't. I don't know what to say really. Someone said we had our Congress renting AI from the world's greatest AI source. Everybody's just been taking fiat fake money and running with it. Possibly. Someone said free energy equals freedom. There's definitely something there. Someone said the whole Christian and the whole religion is of Christian religion is a huge psyop. I don't think so, but you're allowed to believe that if you want. It's a free country. It's a free chat. So I don't personally believe that, but I do think that modern Christians have been like manipulated and tricked in a way that is like abnormal in my view. But if your view is that it's always been a trick and always tricked people, I wasn't alive long enough to like see for sure what used to happen. But my interpretation, and you don't have to agree with it, is if you read older Christians and Catholics, they all kind of came to a certain conclusion where they didn't act like modern Zionists. Like, I mean, first of all, the state of Israel like didn't exist before Theodore Herzl's plan, but they didn't see the Jewish people as like them identically. Like I think everyone back in the day were like, yeah, we're different. We have a different religion. We're different cultures. Like ethnicities were super prominent back in the day because like everyone mostly stayed to themselves in certain countries. So it was like easy to, like everything wasn't so like multicultural as it is now. But I think from reading old Christians and like very popular people, pretty much everyone like no one thought, oh, their religion is our religion, their thoughts are our thoughts, their way of life is our way of life, because it's not true now and it's not true then, and it doesn't, it's not a competition. But it's like Judaism is not Christianity, Islam is not Judaism, Islam is not Christianity. It doesn't mean there's not certain Venn diagram of similarities. There's similarities between them all. But if you look at like divorce in America, like America didn't have easy access to divorce because that's not a Christian value. But if you look at who was behind the pushing of divorce lawyers and some of the most prominent people pushing divorce further into America, it's a certain group. You know what I'm saying? You look at pornography, it's a certain group. You look at liberal backing, it's not all one group per se, but it's like it's because the values of Christians are not the values of another group. They don't have the same ideas and values, So it's like if you look at Iran, they don't have a very high tolerance for LGBTQ. They just don't. If you look at American history from 1776 until like the 1950s, America was very similar. You could say it's bad, worse, progress. I'm not here to debate what's right or wrong. But I will say that like America wasn't super gay and having pride parades. And then you look at Israel and they're like, we have the biggest pride parades in the world, or like the biggest pride parades in the Middle East. That's not a Christian value. That's a Judeo-Christian value. And in the relationship of Judeo-Christian, Christian values get put on the back burner and Judeo values take over the country. So I'm not hating, I'm not being angry or anything. I'm just being real. I don't think Christians, I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think Christians for thousands of years ever thought that their religion needed to be basically overshadowed by a group of people who hate Jesus Christ and hate them. But for some reason, retard boomers and Zionists in the 1900s were like, you know what? Let's put another religion that's like the antithesis of our religion in front of our religion and change our entire country and then call people anti-Semites who notice. It's like, well, that's one way to completely change the country. But I'm not saying everyone believes these things of every group or anything, but it's just like the reality of it's just demographic and ideology shift. Like, if you bring a bunch of Somalians to Minnesota and crime, increases, and I'm not saying it necessarily did because I haven't fully studied it, but I'm just using a hypothetical. Let's say crime increases, the neighborhood gets worse. theft increases, welfare milking increases. It's not racist to notice that certain people are doing certain things, or Indians are really proficient at figuring out loopholes in visas, etc. It just is what it is. And like, I think as long as you have a strong government and a strong society, like say Japan, and I'm not saying they have a lot of issues too, or like Hungary. It's like people can come here, but we're not shifting our values. Our values are not mass migration. We don't want a bunch of refugees. We don't want a demographic shift. We want people to enjoy Japanese and Hungarian culture without completely changing our country. There's nothing racist about that. That's natural. But America has not done that. But nobody, leftists will say certain things are racist. Right wingers will say certain things are anti Semitic because they'll say that's just hate. It's not just hate. Some people are hateful, yes, but some of it is literally just the reality of a situation. Like people want to come to mostly European countries, but they don't want to like or respect European people all the time. And then it's like the country will shift. If you have a country of like 90% Christians who don't want pornography legalized, it won't be legalized. But if you get a different race and a different religion than the host nation has, and they get into power and they have a bunch of money and they control the legal system, and they decide that pornography is legal, then it will be legal. And, everyone has a right to notice that one religion did not want that. And the guy who owns Pornhub, isn't he a rabbi? It doesn't a literal rabbi own Pornhub? And I'm sure there's people within the Jewish faith will be like, he's not a real rabbi. He's not a real leader. Sure, I'm sure some people do believe that because they don't. That's not consistent with their Jewish values. I'm sure that that's true to some people, but like you could notice certain patterns of like how certain things came to be in this country, and that's what the First Amendment's for. You should be allowed to talk about it. If you are allowed to say that, I want this country, or I want this country or this city to be less white. People say that all the time. They're like, I don't want this city to be so white. Okay, you have a First Amendment right to say that, but do people have a First Amendment right to exist in the society and say the opposite, that they do want it to stay that way? Or is that racist? Or does that get you fired? Or does that, stop you from working in certain industries? And, I understand that the First Amendment doesn't necessarily, like, you don't have to hire somebody, but then we just have to be honest about who owns what. Like, I'll give you an example. My podcast is not conducive with the NBA and the NFL's policies. I'm not good enough at either sport to be a pro, but let's just say I was, they would fine me in the NBA. I'm not allowed to have Christian values and conservative values and be unapologetically honest about things that I believe to be in the NBA. I don't think I could get signed to CAA or anything like the biggest talent agency. I don't think I could be on the television. Left-wing media would not hire me. Right-wing media would not hire me because of the Israel stuff. So it's like, I'm not complaining. I'm grateful for the internet and the way things were because I was able to make it anyway. But I just want to be honest about like, you can't work in corporate America if you're not caving to liberals. You can't work at Zionist media unless you prioritize Israel over America. You can't really play sports unless you shut your mouth about most topics. Like, that's the country we live in. Why is it that way? Why are they so against Christians? Why do they hate what the Bible says? You don't have to agree with what the Bible says, but we're not a Christian nation, because if you believe what the Bible says, it's like you can't work anywhere. You can't play the sport in sporting leagues. Like, you basically have to be a slave and just shut your mouth and post like generic Bible verses. You can't like say what you actually think. And that's just what it is. I don't know. I'm grateful that I could just talk about it, not from a place of hate or malice or anger, but just from like a real standpoint. I think it bothers most people if you can't be honest. And like, even people that make a lot of money, if they're super suppressed in their field and they can't say what they really think in a multitude of facets, it bothers everybody, because it's like, especially when you're like, I'm not a bad person. None of my thoughts are like extreme or crazy. I literally am a good person. I just want to say the truth, but I can't in order to work here. Like, that's a problem. And you have to be realistic about it too. I followed my passion and I got here, but it's not like everyone can just post on the internet. Like, that's not a functional society. And to be honest, although I'm grateful for what I do and I think it's somewhat important, I don't think I'm that important. Like people that keep our electricity supply, they're important. People that keep our water supply, they're important. People that do plumbing, that's important. There's way more important jobs that people have to do in order for all of us to survive and live and drink water. And sometimes at some of these companies and businesses and stuff like that, they can't be a podcaster. They can't say what they really think. It's not like allowed. So that's just the country we live in. Like, and the more honest we are about it, the more it shifts in the right direction. Like, you see more and more people more comfortable to say true things, because once everyone starts saying it, it becomes safer to say. Like, if you're the only one at an airport that takes your mask off, they can yell at you. But if 50% or even 20 or 30% of the airport took their mask off, they can't enforce it. What are they going to do? Shut down every airline and lose billions of dollars because they want to enforce a mask mandate that makes no sense? And this is what I like. I would go to an airport, right? I would have to put a mask on in order to like get through security sometimes, because they would hassle you. And sometimes as an experiment, right? I would just take it off in the airport. There's thousands of people, right? I'm ordering food. Nobody said anything to me. Nobody bothered me. Obviously, like the airline people bothered you once you got on. But I was like, imagine if everyone just took it off right now, it would be over. But like no one did. No one would. And it's all a numbers game. It's just like, you get what you put up with. And in order to rebel against the mask mandate, you didn't have to show up at January 6th in the Fed trap. Like everybody, their mind always goes to like extreme things or 1776 because they get so frustrated and they're like, I think we need to freak out in order to really get our way. It's like Trump's in on it. What's freaking out with Trump going to do? He's literally in on it. But all it takes is like just like it's like the Truman Show, where it's like you're out of it just by like getting to the end. You don't have to throw a fit at a Fed trap. You literally like just take your mask off. That would have done more than every patriot showing up to January 6th. Like, just take the mask off. Stop doing it. But nobody would, so they screwed over everybody who did. It's the same thing with society. Like, everyone's putting up with this shit because everybody just does it. People need to be braver on a simple level because, like, yeah, I don't know. I've done my part. It's like I can't work for most record labels. Like, that ship has completely sailed. I don't even care now, nor is it like the right time for it. But it's like I can't be an actor on television. Like, now I can maybe get famous doing Netflix. Like, there's avenues for me now if I wanted to do that. I don't, because we've broken the Overton window. Like, there was no Theo Vaughn is able to make his own show like 7-8 years ago. Like, it's changing now because everyone's doing better, and they can't, like, I think if you look at the top podcasts, most people are more entertained by people that are not sellouts than sellouts. So now the whole industry has to shift or else they lose money. And people like Netflix and Paramount, even though they have political agendas, they don't want to lose their power. So they have to cave on some level to the masses. So that's my whole message. And just in general, like, as we move on, if everyone is just a little braver, a little more honest, and like a little less likely to cave to things that they don't believe are true just to like save face, it becomes normal. Think about in 2021. Imagine trying to not wear a mask and not get a vaccine in 2021. It seems so scary to everybody because your boss might fire you. You might go bankrupt. It is literally scary because it's like, I got a family to feed. I got to do this. I don't want to lose money. I don't want to get censored. But now look at it. 3 years later, everyone who got the vaccine that didn't actually want it feels stupid. Everybody that caved to their boss feels stupid because they're like, this reality that I thought was real, that I played into to save face, it was never real. It doesn't even exist now. We're all through it because everyone got simultaneously tired of it after a certain amount of time. And the lies started falling apart to the point where they couldn't prop up the whole system of lies anymore. So I feel like that it's the same logic. Like, COVID's the perfect example because it was like an extreme psychological experiment / humiliation ritual for everybody that we all lived through. And the people who didn't get the vaccine, who lost their job, were able to sue. The people who caved and did get the vaccine, they couldn't sue. The people who didn't want to get it, most of them got offered their job back in a week or two when the boss just used it as a head fake. Like it's so easy actually to win in this world. And it literally just requires like your mind and your actions. It doesn't require some massive thing, like, but everybody wants to like play ball in a system that doesn't want to respect them. And like I said, I don't consider what I'm doing like a top 50 important thing at all, but because it's not. But what I will say is I always followed my soul. Even when I was young and stupid and didn't fully know who I was and what I wanted to do, I always knew like don't sacrifice what you believe for money and fame and like temptation. And I never did. And it led me to this point, and I couldn't be happier with where I'm at. But I had to say no a bunch of times. And I had to say no when I had no money and I had no anything. So, it's like I know certain people are like, I don't have this, I don't have that. I lived in like a shitty apartment. I had no money. I don't know. It's like it was never an option to me to cave for any reason because I didn't believe it. And it led me to something greater. So I think we'll all be led to something greater if we just say no to the beast system to some extent. It doesn't have to be the most radically stand up thing, but like I can't even, it's hard for me to even like believe that like the NFL and like the NHL and the NBA is still so like gay and liberal and antichrist. Like it's hard for me to believe that players will put up with that and that nobody says anything and that like I don't know. It like but they do because they're getting paid ridiculous amounts of money, so they don't want to lose the money. But it would all end if the players just were like, "Nah, this is super gay, this is super liberal, and this is antichrist. This is against my religion. You're discriminating against my religion, and you're forcing me to have an opinion that I don't have, or else you're going to punish me." Like, I don't believe in being overly litigious, and I don't think that people should oversue. But I do think that, like, I like the UFC because even though it's a little, weird, they let everyone be themselves. If you're a Muslim, you're a Muslim. If you're Russian, you're Russian. If you're American, you're American. If you're Christian, you're Christian. If you're Jewish, you're Jewish. If you're atheist, you're atheist. If you got tattoos, if you want to curse, if you want to say words, like everyone gets to be themselves. And it's so exciting. It's exciting to listen to them talk because it's like you don't need to like everybody. You don't need to agree with everybody. That's what makes a dynamic. You pick your favorites and you pick people you don't like and you root against or for them. That's what makes the UFC so great. Like every NBA player should just say what they think. And then I could be like, oh, I like Kyrie Irving. Oh, I don't like LeBron James. Like that makes it fun. It's like, why make all of these people like these robot slaves? Like all of these NBA and NFL players, they don't want to say anything. They're like so afraid to say anything. And it's like, it's not fun. It's not fun, but they can be super degenerate. They could be super libtarded, but they can't be Christian. Like it's crazy, and it's just crazy that they all put up with it. Cause it's humiliating, but to get humiliated for like a $50 million contract, I guess they just don't really mind. They're like, whatever, I'll tell my family what I think and I won't say anything, but I'll just get the bag and play sports. Someone said Jewish MMA fighters. There actually are like a few Israeli fighters. I'm trying to think. There's like 2 in the UFC, I think. So it's not like a lot, but there's definitely more Muslim and Christian fighters, I would say, but there's 2 Israelis. Catholics are under attack now. Yeah, because the Catholic Church is not completely controlled by Zionism, and Zionists are trying to take over the whole world. So I think the Pope bothers them because, they can't control him. So I'm not saying like the Catholic Church is perfect or anything, but any entity that can't be controlled will be attacked. Even like the UN and NATO and stuff. I've never been a fan of UN or NATO because they're like green lighting refugees. They're corny, they're liberal, and it's completely against national sovereignty. But Trump will try to sever ties with these organizations, not for America, not to stop the liberalism. He doesn't care. To go after like Turkey or to do what Israel wants. So it doesn't mean you have to agree with everything that the Catholic Church does. And it doesn't mean you have to like NATO and the UN or the EU if you don't, but UNICEF, etc. He's going to go after all these people because they won't cave to Israel. Like I said, if it were just about the liberalism and all that stuff, it doesn't, none of that matters to him. So everyone Trump attacks is for Israel. He literally, and I'm not just saying this to be hyperbolic or exaggerate. I truly believe this at this point. Everything he does is for Israel. Everything he says is for Israel. Anyone he attacks is for Israel. I mean, what does Tucker Carlson, Megyn Kelly, Candace Owens, Alex Jones, what do all these people have in common? Even though, yeah, they're conservative, but they all have different views. They won't bow down to the Israel lobby. Why is he yelling at Spain on Instagram? Is it because, or whatever, True Social? Is it because Spain is too liberal? He doesn't care. There's plenty of liberal people that Trump likes because they, agree with his foreign policy. He's mad at Spain because they won't bow down to Israel. Everything Trump does is for Israel. He's trying to push the Paramount deal because they're Zionists. He's mad at Canada. He wants to tariff them because they won't bow down to Israel and they're recognizing Palestine as a state. He's mad at Ireland over Israel. Trump is essentially an empty carcass that is being controlled by the Israel lobby, and everything he says and does is for Israel. There's nothing in there for Europe. There's nothing in there for America. It's, will you work with Israel with me? You're on my good side. Will you work for your country over Israel? You're on my bad side. Literally everything he does. And it wasn't always this way. He would do some things for Israel. He'd do some things for America. He'd do some things for the pharmaceutical lobby. He's always been this mysterious character who's hard to figure out. It's not hard to figure out anymore. Look, like I said, I post on Facebook for my business and for my business is my page, but I'm just saying business wise, I post on Facebook a lot. I disseminate the news through picture posts now. And I try to share information on Facebook that people on Facebook don't get from all the other morons that they're following. But I follow Trump's True Social every day because he talks a lot and it's newsworthy. Everything it's actually fascinating how Mark Levin he is now. Everything he does is so Mark Levin coded. I can't think of one thing he's done in the last 5 weeks that wasn't just straight up for the Israel lobby. It's he's not even trying. It's literally, it almost just feels like, I'm not saying this is true, but it almost just feels like Miriam Adelson or Ben Shapiro or Mark Levin just has his True Social account and is just spamming the most Zionist ridiculous posts ever. He doesn't even mix it in with normal stuff to trick people anymore. It's just this is who I am, this is what I'm doing, this is my purpose, and this is our future. I'm bro, it's it's tough too because I don't want Democrats to win because they're gonna hire a bunch of prosecutors who are weak on crime. But also, I don't want Trump to win. So it's I'm in this weird place where I know how bad Democrats are for cities. I know how bad they are. I think the two worst things that Democrats do, maybe the three, maybe there's more, but I think open border is insane. And I think the prosecutors they hire are astronomically insane. And I think the way that they try to teach the kids is super weird and insane. But I don't want them to win because I don't want the border open. I don't want all that stuff. But I really, it's Trump, he's just like Israel now. I don't know. He just wants to combine our country with Israel. It's debatably just as bad as the left or worse or slightly better. It's hard to figure out. Do we want to just open the border, teach weird stuff, and then, let criminals run rampant in the country with liberal prosecutors? Or do we want to attach it at the hip with a country that literally doesn't even like us or respect us, who has an ethno state, who literally hates everyone who tells the truth and hates the most honest people in America, and let them spy on us? And Trump's probably going to share information with them, or Palantir will, maybe not, but you know what I'm saying? It's these are both horrible options. It's do you want to eat shit or shit? It's South Park said, giant douche or turd sandwich. It's that bad. And I don't know. I think most people are figuring that out. So I don't even want to say people don't get it. I'm pretty sure people do get it. I'm pretty sure most people get it at this point. And I think the midterms are going to reflect that. I think there's going to be a low turnout. I think Democrats are going to win. And I think Republicans are going to be shocked at how little people show up for them. And I don't think they should be shocked. And I think they should take accountability. It's Trump. It's his rhetoric. It's the way he acts. It's the way he's attacked everybody who wants to vote for him. I would be shocked if they win the Senate. I think they're going to lose the Senate. They're definitely going to lose the House, but I would actually be shocked if they win the Senate because I just don't think people are going to show up. But we'll see. boomers will show up, and there's a lot of them. So we will see. Let's see. We're on 3 hours. All right. Let's go like 10, 15 more minutes. Let's make it a good 10 or 15 minutes. So I'll read a few more comments. What do you guys, what's on your mind? I've talked enough. Thank you for saying you're glad I'm here today. I appreciate it. Thumbs up, guys. Thank you. I appreciate the thumbs up on the video. Great live session so far. Thank you. Yeah, Serena. It's been better to hold on. Oh my gosh, I got attacked by China. That was COVID 55. Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm good. Never mind. Sorry. False alarm. Thank you. Bless me. Appreciate you. Yeah, I'm live streaming less, and I'm like only live streaming when I'm in a super good mood and I have like a lot to say because I haven't talked for a while. So I like this format. I don't know that it's like the best way to get a lot of views or something, but I enjoy it. I feel healthy. I'm happy. So yeah, I'm glad you like it. Someone said, Anomaly, you're absolutely the most well-spoken influencer. Thank you, Donna. I really appreciate that. I think very highly of myself, but I need you to tell me. No, I'm just kidding. But no, thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate the compliment. And if things were based off of merit alone, I think, I would do more podcasts. Not that I really care, but sometimes I do want to talk to certain people, but then I don't when I realize how it really works. Like, it's not what people think it is. So they're not interested in what people think they are interested in and what they pretend to care about. Like, it's for a lot of people, it's just business, but also for a lot of people, it's not just money. It's like an agenda, but the agenda is very sneaky. They've figured out, I'll just say this, like, they figured out a long time ago that podcasts were important. They figured out a long time ago that television is not important and that people are looking for Joe Rogan type characters. So I feel like certain people on the podcast circuit, I don't care that much, but part of me does care. And I've talked about this years ago. It's like, I don't need any more attention and I don't need anything. However, we're all essentially in some way like competing for people's opinions. Like, I have my opinion, you have your opinion, but let's just say like Candace Owens wants people to believe what she's saying about whatever she's saying, Macron, Charlie, Israel, like that's her perspective. And then Ben Shapiro has like a completely different perspective. And whether they like each other or not, I know that they don't seem to like each other at all. Essentially what they're doing is they want people to agree with them. They're competing for the perspective. It's like a information battle. So although I think everybody always figures it out over time, like if there's a podcast that gets like 5 million views, right? And I'm not getting 5 million views at the time on my videos. I mean, some of them are on like Instagram, but not like, let's just say they have a way bigger platform and podcast than I have. It's not a jealousy thing. And it's not like I need something from them. I don't even really want any more attention at this point, but it is like, I see certain people's podcasts and I'm like, you're not that good. You're not interesting. You're not honest. This podcast is retarded. And I'm not trying to hate, but it's like, I think if I got on there for an hour or two, people would like me. People would think I'm very well-spoken. They would think I'm nice. They would think I'm authentic. I don't need compliments. I don't need anything. But if your podcast is going to brainwash a bunch of people and trick them and make them retarded, and then they come at me and like get all mad at me because they're listening to you, it's like I'd rather cross paths and have a dialogue about it, but they don't want to have a dialogue about it because one, then it would expose them and everyone would know that they're phony, but also, it's not good for business. Like I'm sure if I pulled some public stunt and became like Andrew Tate level famous, then some people would want to interview me because they could get views off of me. Like right now, I'm not amazing for business. I don't think I'm the worst for business, but I'm not going to like any podcast bigger than me. It's not like, oh, let's get Anomaly on and we'll get 1 million views. Like I'm not Clavicular. I'm not Andrew Tate. I'm not Candace Owens is a superstar. Tucker Carlson gets big numbers. Nick Fuentes gets huge numbers. Although people like to pretend like he doesn't. He's very like Piers. Why did Piers Morgan have on Nick Fuentes? Because he gets Piers Morgan views. Piers Morgan doesn't like Nick Fuentes, but he likes money. He likes views. He likes Nick's aura that he can kind of like aura farm off of. So, it's like, I don't care, but certain people, I just know they're being so sneaky. And I'm like, I would love to have a conversation with you, but I'm not going to force it because I know how people act and I know what they're doing. And it's like, if you upstage them on a podcast, then they'll do something nefarious to you behind the scenes because they're so like ego shattered. So it's like, it's almost like Washington, D.C. I don't want to be anywhere near these people. Like, they disgust me. They're obnoxious. Washington, D.C. has some of the least impressive people who are annoying, just grifty. They want to do whatever they can to get attention. Like, I don't even want to be near them. Part of me wants to compete with them, but other part, like more of me is like, get away. And that's some of these podcasts too. Like, I know there's going to be a consequence anytime I get a big opportunity, and I'm not afraid of it, but it's like, I'll let things come naturally because I don't seek attention or fame or more eyeballs. Cause like, once you cross a certain threshold, like, it's just so exhausting. Like, like, look at the way everybody yells at each other. Like, all the top influencers, they're constantly like bitching at each other. It's just like, who has time for that? Why? Like, what's the point? Like, what? Can't you just agree to disagree and keep it moving? Like, do people beef this much because they actually want to beef this much? Or do they realize that beefing a lot gets way more views and it's like something to talk about? Or do they really hate each other and they just really want to like win the information battle? Any of these are possible. Tim Pool is full of himself. I mean, I'll say this as somebody that is confident and borderline obnoxious with it sometime. I'm okay with confidence if it's backed by reality, right? Like, in order to be great, you have to think you're great, and you have to do it against all odds. Like, I don't know. Let me take Tom Brady for an example. He was drafted like in the 6th round or something, or 7th round. I think 6th round. Nobody thought he was going to be the best ever. He had to be almost like delusional to be the greatest ever. Like, nobody believed in him. So at the end of the day, like, the amount of times in my career, I'm not Tom Brady, but like the amount of people that said no, the amount of like A&Rs that are like, we don't get it, the amount of managers and people in the industry that didn't want to mess with me. Like, I had to believe in myself 1,000 times before anyone believed in me. So you get like a chip on your shoulder because you're able to like blow past everyone's expectations. You have to be confident. Tim Pool, he looks like he lives under a bridge and he wears a beanie 24/7. He has to be confident because if he wasn't, who would like him? He's completely unlikable. His personality sucks. He's not that smart. He's very condescending. If you notice, like in my interviews, even though I could come across like obnoxious-ish sometimes in my live streams, if you see my true character when I interview people, I always read the comments like after my interview, not all of them, but like some people are like, wow, Namalie's a good interviewer. He like lets people talk. He always lets them finish their sentences. He's very respectful. He doesn't like overstep. Like, I'm a nice guy, and like, I'm not rude to people that I interview. Tim Pool's so rude. He's so annoying. Like, I know I wouldn't get along with Tim Pool because I wouldn't put up with his bullshit. He's obnoxious. So on one hand, Tim is such an unimpressive gremlin that he has to love himself and believe in himself. Because if he didn't believe in himself, who's going to look at Tim Pool, who permanently wears a beanie and lives under a bridge, and say, oh, wow, look at this guy. Like, I'm impressed with his confidence. That being said, I think Tim Pool, he's got more ego than he has like true confidence. True confidence is strong. Ego is false confidence to project the reality of confidence for other people because you actually like hate yourself. I think Tim Pool is like 50-50. He's like 50% real confidence because he's a hard worker, a good businessman, and he's created a great life for himself. But 50%, I think Tim Pool has issues and he's like arrogant and obnoxious as like a coping mechanism because he's got like, he doesn't like himself that much because he doesn't want to take his beanie off. So with Tim, it's a mixture. I appreciate his confidence, but I do think he's a little delusional about himself. And he's just not, the problem with Tim is he's just like not that authentic. I saw a video of him recently where he started trolling on Twitter to get attention because nobody cares about him anymore. And it's like, he's so desperate for attention, But the reason he doesn't get as much attention is because he's not that interesting and he's not that likable. Like he's annoying. His conversations are stale. His co-hosts are like Gremlin Juniors. Like that, he finds people that are as annoying and dumb as him to have dumb conversations. Anytime he has a guest who's super smart on, he gets mad at them and like tries to play the role of gatekeeper. He's like, "This is my bridge. We are gonna blame China and suck off Israel." It's like, all right, bro. So, I don't know. I just feel like he like lacks self-awareness, or he pretends to, where it's like, why doesn't anybody care about me? The better question is, why did anyone ever care about you? It's not why do they not now? Why did they ever give you so much attention? I don't know. But he's like, why aren't people watching my show? I could list 50 reasons. It would be like if I was like, why is my YouTube channel not bigger? Even people in the comments are like, you should be bigger. Not really, because you got to understand with me too. Like I don't focus on YouTube that much, and I never really have. So it's not my number one platform. My number one platform is Facebook. I work towards that. Instagram I like even better than I'm bigger on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram than I am on YouTube, but I can't do everything at once. So it's like if I dedicated the next 4 years of my life to making YouTube my biggest business model, I probably could, but I'm not, and I don't want to because it doesn't make sense. Like it doesn't make sense to me now, but I know why I'm not getting that many views on YouTube, and I don't care. It's like I'm not like, oh, this should have 100,000 views. Not really. Like if it gets 10,000 views, that's cool, and it's probably where it should be. But do I think I could get more? Yeah, there's people that do way lower quality than me that rant for 3 hours that get 400,000 views on YouTube. Like, do I think I'm funnier or more interesting than them? Yeah, sure. But it's whatever, like they figured out a way to get people to care about their show, and that's fine. But I guess I'm not like, why it's this huge mystery to me. It's really not. Like nothing surprises me anymore. If I tweet and it gets like 50 likes or it gets 5,000 likes, I don't know. Like none of this is like a mystery. It's like, it's just the internet. Like my Facebook is enormous. My Instagram's pretty big. My Twitter's huge. My YouTube's okay. And I'm okay with all of it. I don't know, I think, but Tim, he like can't figure out why his YouTube's not big. Like I figured exactly why mine's at where it is, and it's fine. But Tim's like, why won't people care about me? He's literally like posting lies for attention, being like, Trump just called me. And then he's admitting on his show that he's trolling to get people's attention. It's like, I gotta make up a lie in order to like get people. It's like, bro, relax. You're fine. Someone said you deserve to be better. You deserve better. I'm fine. I'm good. I don't want to talk about it too much because I don't want to lose it. But my Facebook is enormous right now. I think I reached like 10 to 20 million people a day or something. Like I think I reached 3 to 4. I think I reached like 400 million people, 400 million views on my Facebook posts in 28 days. Like I have one of the biggest Facebook pages in the world. So it's like I'm not like Jeff Bezos type personality where I have to like take over the world. I'm already one of the biggest people on one social media. I have to be the biggest person on YouTube too. I have to be the biggest Twitter user. I have to be bigger on Instagram. It's like, relax. You know what I'm saying? I'm already massive on Facebook. I'm fine with that. It's fine. I have a good business model set up. It's allowed me to not have to focus that much on YouTube. So now I can actually enjoy myself and do what I like to do. So, like things are exactly where they should be. And sometimes I wish I was more ambitious, I guess, like to make more or something, but I don't know. I feel like I don't have that type of personality. I'm super ambitious. I'm always like reaching for greatness, but I'm not like, let me own everything, like I need my YouTube to have 500,000 views. I'm like, I'm good. Why does Anomaly look like a short order cook today? Is that like my black shirt, or what does a short order cook look like? But I'm confused. I don't know if what you said is funny or not, because I don't know what a short order cook is, but hopefully someone else thought it was funny. Someone said, I love we did that random chat where we're all talking about our favorite bands. It was like a community vibe. Yeah, that was a blast to me. It's like, yeah, it's not the most profitable idea to just talk for 4 hours and talk about bands for 30 minutes. But for people who were there, it was fun. I'm glad you had a good time too. I enjoy it a lot. So yeah, I'm gonna head out in a few. We'll go to like 3:30. Let me read some comments. You can't lose what you never had. Home field, Facebook field. I was confused by what you said. Someone said Facebook anomaly has a boomer persuasive talent. I don't know that I do. I feel like the boomers are mad at me, but I've told people like I've done well on Facebook. Boomers that like Trump just really like Trump, and there's nothing you could say to get them to not like Trump. So it's like if you say Trump said this and I don't agree, then like boomers get pissed. But if you say Lindsey Graham said that and they're like fuck Lindsey Graham, like they it's like they're very attached to Trump. They like Trump more than they like me, and that's okay. However, I will say Trump has been acting super ridiculous, and I feel like the amount of like Trump defenders is getting less and less. That's that's the curse of being earlier than some people. I'm not going to act like I'm the earliest because it's not true. But being earlier than most influencers, people get pissed at you because they've never heard that before. But then like 6 months later, like if you look at my Facebook 6 months ago, boomers were like getting really upset. Now there's some getting upset, but there's really not that many anymore because I don't know. But also, what I try to do on my Facebook, I enjoy it because it's like I want to post a lot because that's what they're paying for right now. Picture posts, but at the same time, I'm not just gonna like factory farm slop and just be retarded like every other page. So I have like a fun formula. Like I'll post Trump posts, right? And I feel like most people post them small. So I can't read it. So I post it big, but then I chop it into parts. So it's like easy to consume because I'm trying to do a service. It's like I want to show you what Trump said, but I want to make it as easy and simple for you to see. So sometimes I just post the news and what Trump says. Sometimes I post like generic worldly news that everyone like Hungary's president lost, this new guy. But then other times I'll post like what Marjorie Taylor Greene says, what Thomas Massey says, what Mark Levin says. I'm having fun with it because it's like part of it's just the news. Other part of it is like the conversation happening in America. And I try to just like squeeze it together and make it easy for everyone to see. And it's like a mixture. And then, obviously I post my opinion sometimes. But it's good. It's like maybe like 50% just the news, like no opinion, 25% other people's opinions because everyone knows my opinions, and then 25% maybe my what I think, and I feel like it's a good mix because even though obviously I think things, I don't want people to just see what I think all the time. I feel like that gets kind of stale. So it's like I don't agree with Mark Levin, but I like posting him sometimes because he says stupid stuff. And I kind of like want to see what people think. Like I read that and I'm like, let's see what the boomers think. And like, to be honest, like I said, they don't really like Mark Levin that much. Like if I post what Trump says, you'll have a lot more Trump support. But if Mark Levin's like the woke right, Megyn Kelly gives good BJs, and you're like, what? But Mark Levin will go on a rant. I'll post it on Facebook, and like 90% of the people in the comments, like nobody likes Mark Levin. It's fascinating. Like you would think the same boomer that likes Trump would also like Mark Levin, but it's just not the case. Like people don't like Mark Levin. People don't like Lindsey Graham. They boo Lindsey Graham, even though Trump is Lindsey Graham. It's fast. I actually enjoy it now. Like I have a great workflow and I figured out the perfect way to post a lot. But if you look at my page and other pages, yeah, a lot of us post the same stuff, but I think you could feel that I'm doing it. Like every post that I post, I'm posting. Every title I'm writing is me. I'm thinking of the title. It's not AI. Facebook's trying to push us to do AI. I won't do it. I'm not hiring somebody else to come up with posts. So if you look at other people's pages, it feels factory farmed because it is factory farmed. They're like, how many posts can I get a social media manager to post? Whether it's true, it might be not true. Everything I post, I'm fact checking. I run it through a fact checker myself just to make sure. I know it's not 100% accuracy, but it's like, let me make sure this is even true. I mean, in opinion, like Mark Levin is not telling the truth, but that the post is not claiming that he is. It's just what he's saying. But if it's like a news story, I make sure the news story is true. I make sure it's formatted properly. So I feel like compared to other conservative influencers, even though my page can be like a little bit a lot because I'm spamming posts a lot. It doesn't come across spammy and inauthentic because it's not. It's like I have a good formula. I'm not factoring it out. I'm not using AI to do it. The only thing I use AI for is to like search, like, okay, is this true? Show me, like, instead of taking 5 minutes to search, I use it to get all the facts in front of me so I could verify if it's real or not. So I enjoy it. I like it. And I feel like over time it's becoming bigger and bigger because I don't know the conversation on Facebook. Like, who knows what people think, but I would guess if people use Facebook a lot and they follow me and other pages, they're like, okay, Anomaly's kind of cool. Anomaly's got good information. He's very quick with the Trump posts. He's, he makes good points. He shares unique things that I wouldn't see anywhere else. He's definitely not like a David Harris Jr. type vibe. So I'm enjoying Facebook. Me and the boomers we're back together again. You know what I'm saying? I love the boomers. They always liked me, but they just like Trump more. And the thing is, I get that. I lost like 200,000 to 300,000 followers. It's a little sad. I worked hard to get there, but I went from 1.7 million to like 1.5 million, and I think I'm cratering. But that's okay. Like as long as we meet up in the end and we can laugh about it someday, it's okay. We get your point and agree with you about Trump's arrogance, but you go on and on about Trump. Do you have anything else to talk about? I do talk about other stuff, but right now, here's the thing with Trump, okay? He's the president of the United States. He's the leader of our party. He's not just the physical leader of our party. He's the spiritual leader of our party. He's the organized. Like, he's bigger than Tom Brady. There is no Republican Party without Trump. There is no MAGA without Trump. He's everything in our movement. Like, it's not like Joe Biden where it's like, oh, he's going to get thrown to the curb and then we'll move on to like some other moron. That's not who Trump is. I'm not downplaying how important Trump is. So if I'm a Republican, if I'm a conservative, if this is my party, if this is who I voted for, if this is the way I want to vote, and Trump is standing there saying vaccines are good, if he's literally just the Israel lobby and just like hawking pharmaceuticals, how could I not talk about that most of the time? Like, there is no moving on because he's trying to gatekeep the movement and kick out all my favorite people. I'm not saying I trust all of these people, but if you ask me who my favorite people in the Republican movement are, it would be Tucker Carlson, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Thomas Massey. You know what I'm saying? Like, and he hates all of them. So it's like, how either I unregister and just give up on politics completely and move on with my life, or I talk about this stuff. Like, it's like, why do we have to talk about Trump all the time? Because he's the president, because he's the leader of our party, because he's the leader of the movement, because he controls everything, and he wants our party to be Mark Levin and Lindsey Graham. Like, the whole reason I got extra interested in politics recently was like when Trump was saying screw the system and Bernie Sanders was saying screw the system. If they are the system, I would have just never paid attention. Bernie was like, I'm going to buck the system. Hillary Clinton sucks. And I'm like, she does, in my opinion. Okay, let me follow this Bernie Sanders guy. He seems pretty cool. And then Bernie ended up being a total loser, right? So I was like, okay, it didn't take me very long to be like, oh, Bernie's a phony. He's lying. And then Trump came along and was like, I'm going to kick the system apart. Okay, I like this guy. Now he is the system. So it's like, there's two options for me. Either I completely find a new career and do something else, and I just completely ignore politics and give up on it. I'm not trying to give up on it, nor do I think we have to give up on it, because I don't think it's so hard to fix what's going on. If I did, I'd just do something else. It's easy. It's so easy, but you got to not be like it's like, why do you want to talk about Trump? Because he's going to screw us over for the next 20 years because he's trying to take all of my favorite people out of politics and replace them with Mark Levin and Lindsey Graham and freaking Alan Dershowitz. What's there not to talk about? Like, I don't want to talk about how old Joe Biden is. Joe Biden sucks. He's not relevant, and Trump is relevant. So, that's my logic. It's so simple. It's so easy. I'm going to talk about Trump a lot until Trump is out of politics. Then I'll talk about whoever's running the Republican Party. But right now, I focus on Republicans more than Democrats because that's my side. Like, what do you want me to do? Sit there and be like, hey, Kamala, do you want to close the border? She's like, no. Okay, then I'm not going to vote for you. Like the left, does it. Let me give an example. And I'm not saying that this is true, but let's just say Gavin Newsom came out. It was like, you know what? I'm going to close the border. Democrats are crazy. It's like, all right, well, now you're pandering to me. Are you going to stop the anti-Semitism laws? Are you going to stop being a weird libtard? If Gavin Newsom pretended to do that and said he was going to be the party to fix all the things I want to fix, then I would start communicating with him. But he doesn't, and no one on the left does. It's the right that pretends to believe in the things that I believe. So either they're my side or not. Let me see. Hot Link said, Anomaly, you and Tucker are washed up. You've entered the fake news realm. Enjoy the cash. It's over for you. What do you think I'm fake about? Just give me an example, because I don't like Tucker's more popular than ever. I'm doing well. I don't like, even if you say like you don't like Tucker, I understand it. But like saying he's washed up, what does that mean? Tucker's washed up, but Ben Shapiro isn't. Tucker gets more views in like 20 minutes than Ben Shapiro gets in like weeks. Like Ben Shapiro is completely irrelevant. No one listens to anybody like Ben Shapiro. They have like no relevance at all. Ben is washed up. Like, I don't like Ben, but I'm just saying, like, if you look at how relevant and popular and like how good Ben Shapiro used to do versus now, Tucker's like the opposite. He's like a top 10 podcaster who gets like hundreds of millions of views on his streams. So like, this is my issue, not with you, because I don't even know you, but this is my issue with certain people. It's like, can you dislike me and Tucker Carlson? Sure. Can you tell the truth about it though? Like, I could say, I don't agree with Trump, but he's not irrelevant. He's the president, you know? But to say that like Tucker's washed up, it's just not even true. It's like when Trump says Candace isn't popular. You don't have to like Candace, but she absolutely is popular. Like I could see the numbers. Nick Fuentes is popular. Candace Owens is popular. Tucker Carlson's popular. Sean Ryan is very popular. Joe Rogan is popular. Ben Shapiro is more popular than other people, but he's not like a top 20 or 30 most popular person. Mark Levin is not popular, you know? Like that's even with the debate of like, you know, the Zionists versus people who are like critical of Israel. I don't care if people disagree with my foreign policy, but I've noticed that the people that are like super into Israel, they can't tell the truth about anything. Like they can't even just be like, wow, Candace is really popular, but I don't like her. They're like, she's not like, it's like the whole world becomes a lie. I don't get it. Like, why can't you just be honest about me or Tucker without like some grandiose, like you're super washed up? Okay. I mean, you could say I'm washed up if you're doing my metrics of like videos versus like what they used to be, but not my overall reach. And also, you know, my long form doesn't do as well as my short form. So it is what it is, but I don't like Tucker is definitely not washed up. Someone said one has to talk about those who betrayed your side. For example, if your spouse would betray you, would you be angry at the spouse or the one that betrayed you? Of course, the spouse. In that example, yeah, I don't know if you're talking about like Tucker or Trump, but it's like, if Trump betrays his voters 50 times, is no one supposed to mention it? But then if someone disagrees with Trump, they're betraying Trump. Our allegiance has to be to our country and to God and to the Constitution. It can't be to a political figure who gets bankrolled by Miriam Adelson and then says, let's give up our rights for the war I just started. Like, I don't have loyalty to a politician who takes money. If your loyalty is to a politician over the Constitution, to me, that's crazy. Like, that's insane, especially one that absolutely should have no trust at this point. I don't know. Like, you're allowed to see it that way, but I feel like it's pretty crazy. Let's see. Someone said these people must have took a Bill Gates recommendation book, How to Lie with Statistics. Great book. Very good book. It's not written by Bill Gates, but it was on his reading list. Someone said Trump betrayed voters. Okay, I didn't know if you were talking about Trump or like Tucker, because some people will say like it's Tucker and Candace who are betraying Trump. It's like, I don't know, you know, like I don't know. In my vantage point, they took a really long, I feel like Tucker, Candace, Alex Jones, and Megyn Kelly, they were gracious to Trump. I feel like they took a really long time to criticize him. So it's like Trump sees it as they should have never done that. To me, I feel like at a certain point, their reputations were at risk because they were like, I think they're all trying to be honest people. So they're like, how could I not talk about this? How long can you defend Trump? Like, it's almost like you're throwing away your entire reputation just to please him. But deep down, that he's wrong. So it's like, Tucker, Candace, they all like pivoted and they're like, I can't, I tried to defend you for years. I tried to, be on your side for years. And I can't. I think Joe Kent did that as well. Like, I tried to do something, but it's not worth it. I need to go. I'm like exhausted and hungry, but I wanted to see what that one person said. I just wanted to like give them a chance to respond because I like to have like a conversation. And to be honest, I'll end on this note too because I haven't seen anything. But when it comes to like the Republican Party and foreign policy, there needs to be room for people to disagree on stuff. Like, I don't think we need to kick out everyone who disagrees with my foreign policy. But if they think they need to kick us all out and call us traitors or whatever, then it's like you're not going to have a very big movement because the entire movement was based off of not doing that. Like, literally, that's what Trump ran on. So it's like, I know that there's people that agree with me on foreign policy that act weird and it's hard for people to get along with sometimes. I understand that. But to me, like the way that the Zionist side is acting, and maybe both sides could be better, but it's like they control the entire Trump administration and they just don't want anyone that could influence them in the other way. So they're basically just like burn it all down and create the smallest circle possible that includes no one who disagrees with us. You're going to lose the next couple elections. You're going to absolutely get destroyed and demolished by Democrats, and you're going to demolish the movement that Trump built, his reputation. I mean, his entire reputation and movement is going to be destroyed by this, but that's fine with them. So it's like, I'm willing to have good faith conversations, extend an olive branch. Like, years ago, I have friends that we disagree on certain things with Israel. We disagree with foreign policy. I don't care that much. You know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't like, who cares? It's a foreign country. You like it. You feel connected to it. That's fine. I respect that. I have Italian friends that like Italy. I get it. But it feels like the disconnect is so severe right now that no one wants to talk to each other. No one wants to have conversations with each other. People just hate each other. Like even the one guy in the comments where he's like, you and Tucker, this and that. You don't have to agree with us, but we're not washed up. And Tucker is certainly not washed up. Not to say that I am, but it's like, I'm just being realistic. Like metrics wise, my Facebook's bigger than ever. My Instagram is still huge. I get millions of views on my videos and tens of thousands of comments. Like I'm not washed up at all on Instagram. I'm not washed up at all on Twitter. My YouTube isn't as big as it's ever been. And my Facebook videos, long form, are not as big. But objectively, you could say one or two things I'm doing worse in and everything else I'm doing better in, whatever. Tucker, I don't think he's doing worse than anything. So it's like, he's not washed up. So it's like, what are we here? What are we doing here? Do we want to come back together and like find common goals to actually achieve things for America? Or is everything about Israel and we can't have conservatives and Christians who disagree with us in the movement and we're going to lose to liberals because that's what we want. That's the direction it's going. And like I said, I've known for years that certain of my friends and colleagues don't agree with my foreign policy or even some domestic policy. But now it feels like you can't talk to anybody. Like we're so far apart that it's like the chance of ever like reconciling that is over. For me, it's not. I don't care that much. However, if someone does care that I am not a phony and they don't want to debate me, they just want to lie about me, etc., then what am I going to do? I can't just chase a tail, you know what I'm saying, and run in circles. It's like, to me, a lot of people have just made a decision. They're not willing to cave. They're not willing to communicate, and they're stuck there. For me, I don't want this to happen, but and just like, the other side's probably comfortable with where they're stuck. I'm comfortable with where I'm at. I don't, it's not like I'm getting the most views in the world, but when I talk like this for hours, right, I'm saying a lot publicly and it's archived and basically here till, as long as the internet exists for people to see it. So it's like, I'm sure at some point in my life, again, people are going to lie about me. They probably do it every day. People are going to say things that I don't mean. They're going to put false accusations and emotion behind things that I don't have. But at least what I said is all here. So it's like I can't control what other people say or think, but I know that people that are honest are going to listen, and they know that I'm being honest. So it's like, if you don't like what I'm saying, if you will never respect me or want to, like, it is what it is. Like, I'm very comfortable with what I'm saying. I know that I'm right. I don't even think it's debatable. Like, one time I had, and I'd be willing to do this again with somebody that's like chill, but I had this woman named Conservative Mama on my podcast to talk about Zionism. And I was excited because nobody ever wants to talk with me about it on the other side of the equation. And like, it was hilarious because I don't think she's ever had a conversation with someone that's super smart and measured that doesn't agree with her. Cause like nothing she was saying made sense. She was like, are you saying this anti-Semitic conspiracy theory that there's Jewish people paying Trump to do things for Israel? That's what you said. Like, you just said that. I didn't say that, but am I kind of like, what am I saying? I'm saying that this person gives hundreds of millions of dollars to the GOP as a lobbyist, and every lobby wants people to do something. AIPAC wants to achieve objectives for Israel and the American-Israel relationship. Meir Matelson pays Trump to do things for Israel. It's well documented. He's admitted that multiple times on stage. Is that an anti-Semitic conspiracy theory? You understand what I'm saying? So it's like, we had a conversation. I still follow her on Twitter. She's a lovely lady, but she's still stuck in her ways. She's still doing the same shilling that she's always done. And I'm okay with that. I think she's a nice woman, but it's like, do you remember when you said it was an anti-Semitic conspiracy theory for me to say a factual statement? At a certain point, you're wondering, like, what are these people so stubborn? Is it an ethnic bias? Is it a religious bias? I don't really know, but like, they're not looking for the truth. They're not looking for honesty, because it's like, I can explain everything so compassionately, so objectively true that there's nothing for them to disagree with. So they're just going to look like fools, because it's like, that is literally happening. I proved it was happening. Trump now has since admitted that that's happening, but you'll just use the word anti-Semitic conspiracy theory in order to make me look crazy and mean for saying a statement that is 100% factually true that's now confirmed by Trump himself. So what's the point of talking to people like this? To show other people that their tactics are very weird? Like, it's like, I don't care anymore, because I don't think like, what I've noticed is most people that don't have stake in it eventually, like, if you don't have this massive sneaky ethnic or religious bias that you're not admitting, or maybe you do admit it, I don't know, or you're not like some sort of like operative, and I'm not saying she is, I don't think she is, I'm just saying, like, if you're not stuck there for inauthentic reasons, eventually you figure it out. So like, I've noticed, like, even over the last 6 years, like, my side of the debate, which is very simple, it's very pro-America, it's very First Amendment based, and it's very, I don't believe in speech laws in America. It went from like very few people were here to way more people are here to way more people are here to over half the world is here to way over half the country's here to most liberals now somehow agree with me to over half of the Republican Party agrees with me. Most people under 40 agree with me, right or left. Like, my side's getting bigger because it's true. And what I'm noticing in Republican media, especially, is the honest, authentic people are shifting towards the truth. And the people who are stuck there are playing a certain role. Certain people are playing a role. So it's like, if someone's playing a role, then you're not going to change their opinion, because it's not an opinion that they have. It's a game that they're playing. So, but I think over time, the people who are playing an inauthentic role are kind of just the only ones saying this stuff, like it's like the little like Israel first movement that everything's anti-Semitic, etc. Like, it's getting smaller and smaller, and the only people there are, it's not even like people that are tricked. It's like only the people projecting the propaganda are there, and everyone else is slowly moving their side to the real side. Because if you're tricked by that side and you don't believe what I'm saying, I'm right. So eventually you're going to figure it out, because it's going to get so obvious that you're going to be like, oh, wait, no, I do like America. I don't believe in hate speech laws. I don't think they should be scanning social media to see if you're loyal to a foreign nation. Like, if you're a type of person that can be swayed based on the truth over time, you will be swayed. Like it'll happen. And it's like you're starting to see who is who. And it's a fascinating time. I'll use an example as a compliment to just show people all sides of it so they can make sure that I'm not just, I know there's always going to be false accusations, but I'm going to use Brett Weinstein right now, right? Brett Weinstein, he's not Dave Smith. He's not been outspoken about Israel his whole career. Brett Weinstein is a Jewish American who's kind of like a centrist, right? Sometimes he's annoying, sometimes he's on point, but truly listening to Brett and seeing his like path, I think certain people, you're raised a certain way and you're in a certain world. I think he was like in the liberal school system. So he's a little, no offense, cornier than a lot of people just based off of like what he's been around. But I think Brett Weinstein is a good person. I think he's Jewish, but I think he's an American. I don't think he might feel some connection to Israel because he's Jewish, but I don't think he's like an Israeli plant or anything. So over time, you see Brett Weinstein start to change his opinion. He starts to like not understand what people are saying about Zionism to completely understanding what they're saying about it. And same with Robert Barnes. Robert Barnes is, I think, Jewish. He blocked me on Twitter because he didn't understand the Zionist stuff 3 years ago. Since then, Robert Barnes, appreciate you, brother. He's unblocked me and he shares my post now because we're on the same page again. So I don't care whether people block me or unblock me, but I always liked Robert Barnes. I always thought he was an authentic person, and I don't care that he disagrees with my foreign policy, but now he agrees. So it's like, now we're on the same page. So it's like over time, I think Robert Barnes got mad at me, but I don't think he's a bad person. And I don't think he's playing a sneaky role. I just think he was confused. Now he's not confused and we're on the same page again. Same with Brett Weinstein. We're not the same person, but Brett, he's not like an Israeli operative. He's like a Jewish American who is starting to figure it out. So Brett took a huge risk by saying, I think something might have happened to Charlie. I don't trust the official narrative because I was talking to Charlie and something's fishy about it. That's a huge risk that Brett doesn't have to take, but I think he means it. So he's saying it. So what I'm trying to say is over time, it's like putting oil and water or oil and vinegar together. I think it's maybe both, but where they separate over time. And then you see that and that's what's happening now. Even though some people are obnoxious, you're starting like, I know who everyone is now because you'll show who you are, and it's like the people that are still pushing the propaganda, there's not like just useful idiots like doing it with them. It's just them. It's just them doing it to a very small audience of people that are either very confused or on their side. And everyone else is figuring this stuff out. Everyone under 40 is figuring it out. Most of the Democratic Party is figuring it out. Most of the Republican Party is starting to figure out. The shift is extraordinary. And it's because you can't trick good people forever. You can trick them a little bit, but now the only people sitting with the stupid fake of propaganda is a lot of the times just the people that are projecting it and promoting it or have a certain bias. And all I'll say is this. I think as an American, you're allowed to have a bias. You're allowed to like Israel. You're allowed to want them to win the war. You're allowed to support the war in Iran. You're allowed to support the Venezuela capture. I think it's okay to disagree with me and support because it's a foreign thing that's confusing. So it's like, you're allowed to think these things. But what you shouldn't really do is, if you're a conservative, you shouldn't side with Jewish Israeli speech laws over the First Amendment. You shouldn't call everybody an anti-Semite who points out the Israel lobby because it's very real and everybody knows it. So that's the difference, in my view, in my vantage point, between someone like, I have friends who disagree with my foreign policy. I don't care. It doesn't matter that much. And also, it's a lot harder to prove what's really good and bad over time when it involves so many factors of trade, oil, multiple countries, etc., petrodollar. It's, I have my opinions, but it's a lot harder to prove that sort of stuff. It's not hard for me to prove that this obscure speech rule that was written in 2014 or something in Bucharest, it doesn't belong in America. It's not an opinion. The First Amendment didn't say, but in 2015, let's create a Jewish speech law and stop people from boycotting them. No. So when I say this stuff, I don't care if you disagree with my foreign policy. I don't care if you like Trump. I don't care if you support the war in Iran. I don't care if you like Israel so much you want to move there. Whatever. Everyone has a preference in this world, and I'm not a hater. However, If it's at the expense of America, if it's at the expense of my First Amendment, if Trump said, I started the war, now you need to lose your rights and liberty for our military. If you can't even say no to that, I will never trust you. I don't care if you like me or Tucker Carlson or Candace Owens. I really don't. But if you can't stand up for the First Amendment and the Fourth Amendment, and you're saying you're acting like you don't see it and just using the word anti-Semite to cover it up, I'll never trust you again. And that's okay. We don't have to. But you get what I'm saying? Certain things are gray, certain things are not. I talk about the things often that are not. Sometimes I talk about the gray areas because it's interesting. That's what makes it debatable and exciting. But certain black and white issues, why? And you start to notice the people in conservative politics that never talk about it. They're playing some sort of role, or they're so engulfed by their own bias that they're just ignoring it. But either way, it's inexcusable. So if that's my middle ground, right? My middle ground is, let's just assume everything that Trump's doing is right with foreign policy. I don't think so, and I don't think it's for America, but let's just say it all is. I'll give you that, right? Can you say no to the speech laws? Can you say no to the boycott laws? Can you stop calling everyone an anti-Semite and trying to smear them as our government is passing hate speech laws for a foreign nation and one race and one religion? Can you say no to that? If you can, it's okay. We're on the same page. If you can't, I will never trust you again. I think you're playing some sort of role, right? I think you're playing you're not a good faith actor, or you're so engulfed in the battle of stuff that you're just not seeing it. And that's a possibility too, because sometimes people are so engulfed with like the left versus right that they can't see certain things. But it's been 10, 12 years. So that excuse of like, oh, it's 2018, I didn't want to pay attention to Trump. I get it. In 2026, you can't just play the left and right thing forever. That's the show today. Appreciate it. I think it's a good spot to end. God bless you. God bless your family. God bless America. God bless the world. Dreamrare.com if you want to check out. I love Boomer's shirt. I got the God bless, God is great hats. I'll probably do a sale soon, and I've just been super busy. I don't know. I haven't really been promoting it that much or doing videos. So I need to get creative with my marketing for my shop. I'm trying to get more, if I could get the right help with my business, because right now I'm just doing it by myself. And I know I've been saying this, but I don't want to over stress myself. Like, my life is good. I'm doing fine. I'm enjoying my life. So it's like, just to make a few hat sales, I don't want to like stress myself out. But eventually the internet has changed since like 5 years ago, and just promoting hats in videos doesn't work as much as anymore. Like, people run ads on Facebook and Instagram and stuff. So I just don't sell them that much because I haven't been seeing the return. Like, back in the day, I'd put it in my video and that's the only way people got ads. But now, you know what I'm saying? It's like, I think more people buy stuff in different ways because of the advancement of technology. So if I really want to sell my hats, I got to get like extra creative with my marketing, which I just don't have the capacity to do right now. But appreciate y'all. Someone said, Mr. Anomaly, you need to lower your camera exposure a little bit. Do I look super white or something? It might be true, but whatever. I don't care. Like, I know what I look like. If I look like shit, it's okay. But I'll look at my camera. But it's the lighting. I don't think it's the exposure. If it were dark, it would look different. I use natural lighting. I don't want light in my eyes. So sometimes it looks good. Sometimes it looks like shit. But it's better for my health. So I don't really care. Appreciate you.